Welcome. You're watching Chillmonger. You're watching Black Comic Lords. You're watching everyone on this panel who's about to join us. We are here to celebrate a momentous occasion. You see, something happened in 1966 when I was a wee lad. This book came out. It's called Fantastic Four, issue 52, and it debuted that gentleman in the center. See, he put his hands and paws all over the Fantastic Four. It was fantastic. I remember where I was the first time I read it, in front of my computer. Where were you?
I wasn't born yet. Well, no. Well, when it came out, the first time I read it,
Yeah.
all I could tell you is it was after 1998 because my first real Black Panther, love came with the Christopher Priest run in 1998, and I subsequently retroactively went and read Fantastic Four 52.
Nice.
I got my first copy of that book for $20 at a bookstore in Atlanta.
Damn. So you actually physically read it, not on the internet like me, huh? You didn't have like a Wi-Fi connection.
I own 2 copies.
Huh? Today, a lot of people are going to be chiming in with Recast T'Challa. Why? Because this was the day where many content creators and Twitter users decided to take to Twitter, to use the hashtag Recast T'Challa and make that thing popular as all heck. And we definitely did our thing, man. All morning long, there was new people chiming in who I haven't seen before using the hashtag. And I wouldn't call it a success because I don't believe we made it trend. But then again, there were a couple hours.
Yet.
We could always do. Hold on. Let me go to explore trending. No, it's not. Eyes of Wakanda did trend though because they decided to make today the day that they dropped the trailer. And I don't know about you, but I put my thinking cap on, and I think that was to hijack the narrative and make it a Eyes of Wakanda day. You see?
So this is what you do in all of your Recast T'Challa postings.
You write the word Eyes of Wakanda.
Put hashtag Eyes of Wakanda.
I think we don't need to, because yes, if I check the entertainment tab, Recast T'Challa was successfully a trending topic. We did it. 3rd time in a row. We've tried to make this word trend, and we succeeded each and every time here. The community of like my community, Chillmonger, and all of my viewerships, as well as you, Black Comic Lords, we par with the same people, right? Like we did it. We made sure.
I was following your lead, man. I saw that you were trying to trend it. I did I dropped some posts with said Recast T'Challa today, including one directly to Marvel Studios.
We did it. Josh, we did it.
We did it. It's trending.
It's a trending topic, baby.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice.
Let's actually click on this thing and read some of these tweets. Recast T'Challa, 59 years of T'Challa. What's the first one that comes up? It's this from Andre Ware. He says, just like there have been multiple actors who have been Superman, Batman, Spider-Man, Punisher, Hulk, there should have been multiple T'Challas. Recast T'Challa and continue to tell his stories.
Shout out Andre Ware.
That was a great one.
Andre
Gerald
Ware,
Hill, voice actor, just with a little image. Never seen this guy before, but he was active. Let me go to latest. Shouldn't I go to latest?
Probably
latest.
Yeah, you can see people as early as 43 seconds ago.
People
we
retweeting.
2 minutes ago. Oh, actually, that's people are posting links to our YouTube channel right now.
Good thing, though. It's a good thing.
Yeah. It's time to bring T'Challa home. Recast T'Challa. Twin Prime. Thank you, Twin Prime. Appreciate you, bro. Let me give that a like.
I threw some shade at Marvel Studios if you want to bring up my tweet on it.
We'll pull it up then. I can let you share your screen. As we are joined by the gospel according to Mark with his seat. He can't hear me.
Can't hear you.
Do you hear me now? How about now? Right now? No?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
now?
I hear you.
You can hear me.
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Let me hop back out. I'll try it again.
No. Stay. Talk.
He can't hear you.
This. I don't care. Talk about this. Go.
I'll be right back, man.
Go.
No, he cannot
Stay
hear
there.
you.
Okay.
That's crazy.
But how fun would that have been, bro? You think I take this YouTube thing seriously, bro?
No.
Here, let me.
Not.
Here's the screen I was sharing here.
Oh, hide your DMs.
So check it out.
Uh-huh.
Marvel still posts stuff off of the Black Panther account.
They did.
Right? The Black Panther account they've had since the first Black Panther film dropped. They still use it. So I said, Dear Marvel Studios, Will you eventually be renaming this account Wakandans rather than Black Panther? Asking
Yeah.
for a friend.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good
Hashtag
question.
save T'Challa. Hashtag recast T'Challa.
I'm gonna find that tweet and retweet it right now.
That's a really good question. They clearly didn't invest that much into it, considering they're giving it a 4-episode series. But whatever.
Animated series, yeah.
4 episodes? Are you kidding me? Are you joking? Like, not that I cared about Eyes of Wakanda, but then like you're not even going to stand behind it after all this. Like, okay.
Here, the Black Comic Lord's tweet he just pulled up, I put it in the chat. So if you guys should all run off to there, give it a like, and then come race back. We have a super. One second. A super chat. Here, I'm gonna do the thing that we do with super chats on Panther.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, let's find a video clip.
Yikes.
$10 super chat. Bo Big HHB.
Biggs in the house.
He uses the hashtag recast T'Challa. That's what today is.
Bo Biggs is my man's in them.
Shout out to Bo Big.
Black Comic Lords, man, best place to be. The
Appreciate the love,
ESPN
sir.
of Black comic books. We're joined
I
also
wish
by
I could copy this link. I can't copy this link.
What's happening?
what's
Salute.
going on?
Yes,
Culture
sir.
Made channel.
Culture Man, what up?
What's good? What's good?
What's going
Good
on,
to
man?
officially meet you.
Yeah.
Hey, we already know what all these other guys think about recasting T'Challa. What's going on, Charles? Tell us what you think about this recast of T'Challa. What did you think of the Wakanda Forever movie? Did you even pay to see it? And how have you felt ever since?
No lie, I went to see Wakanda Forever twice, and the first time I went to see it,
that was very nice to meet him officially. He is
That's
no longer
crazy.
part of the program anymore.
Give that man the screen back.
Oh, I'm about to say, Till, you a fool for that one. I love it. No, but seriously though, my grandma was in there, and I didn't even know she was coming. Like the first time, like she came and tapped me on the shoulder, was like, "What are you doing in here?" And I was like, "What do you think? I love comic books." And so, like the way Wakanda Forever kind of impacted us, it wasn't as big as the first movie, of course, but it still touched people. And it's not a bad movie, y'all. Like y'all tripping on it like it's just garbage. Like it's plenty garbage that we let slide by just because it's something that we really can't. I feel like we really can't control it, so we just let it go. Like with the Thunderbolts movie, everybody hollering, "Oh, it was this and this, that, it's that." It's truthfully the same story they telling in Ironheart, but nobody wants to hear it from a black woman. They looking at like what's Elena Belova, like she's such an angel, and I feel sorry for your loss and you're lonely, and man, fuck all that. Like she going through the same thing like superheroes go through. But as far as the recast T'Challa thing, looking at that screen, seeing Shuri forced into that role, it wasn't her time yet. We know that happens in the comics, but it just wasn't her time to be the Black Panther. I really feel like they should have put M'Baku, if they were going to do something different, they should have put M'Baku in the suit and showed why it's important to have somebody from T'Challa's bloodline to be in the suit. And I know, nobody wants to hear about the kid, but...
What kid?
This is my son, Toussaint.
The thing is, though, man,
crazy.
it's all right. You got to look at, from the rumors I heard behind the scenes, Coogler wants to tell a story about fathers and sons. He wants to give us a story about somebody who actually takes care of their child. But he couldn't do that because Chadwick Boseman died. And no, Chadwick Boseman is not the end-all be-all, but that story, I would like to see that story told, because we don't get many stories like that. Like we do get the fatherless child or the downtrodden black person. If we can get like the king of Wakanda taken care of, even his bastard child, I think that'd be a good. I think that'd be a good look.
Yeah, but understand. You said Coogler wants to tell a story about fathers and sons. But he did so with, as you said, a bastard child. He didn't have to do that. And understand, that had nothing to do with Chadwick Boseman's death. That was the script before he died.
Yeah.
Right?
See,
Is that Chadwick was supposed to be gone during the blip,
Yeah.
When he comes back, lo and behold,
Yeah.
he got a baby mama and a kid. So the intent was always to have him represent a black trope in media, which is unmarried kids, unmarried parents of kids.
But is it a trope though? Like, it's kind of close to reality, you know. But
Well,
we don't.
but this isn't reality. This is comics, right? The comics is supposed to represent what we aspire to.
Yeah,
Black Panther. Why a lot of us like him is because he's the goal. He's what you're supposed to aspire to. You should aspire to have a nuclear family of a king and a queen and a prince and a princess. That's something that we don't have.
And it's beautiful to see. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
It's something we don't have in the MCU, and it's something we don't have in a Ryan Coogler movie. When have we ever seen a nuclear family in a Ryan Coogler movie?
There you go.
Never. But see, I don't know Ryan Coogler's backstory, but I'm pretty sure he comes from the Bay, and I'm pretty sure he comes from a toughened area. And these are the stories he knows. You know, like usually, like these are the stories people tell stories that they know. You can't really tell a story you don't know.
Not for nothing, you mentioned him wanting to tell a story about a father and son. Why couldn't he have done that with T'Chaka and T'Challa?
I don't know why he couldn't have done it, but I thought, like, don't T'Chaka always die? Like, T'Chaka always dies. Yeah, like he was just following the comics there. And another thing, I love how, you know, this space pushes recast T'Challa. But y'all not looking at it from like Ryan's point of view. Like, they lost a brother. Like, they lost somebody who just, they really, not only did they sit for like at least 6 to 8 months and watch this man struggle through, you know, his scenes and try to deliver the best T'Challa he could. They made $1 billion doing this. And then next thing you know, he's gone. Like, they weren't planning for his death. They didn't know that. They knew he was going through something, but they didn't know he was going to just die, you know?
That's all facts. It's all 100% facts. But
not fact.
But understand him not putting the Black Panther in Wakanda Forever is not the issue. The issue is, why did you have to kill the character in the movie? You didn't have to do that. He didn't have to do that. He was literally gone already, story-wise, in the blip. Have your movie take place in the blip. Problem solved. Grieve. Get your grief out. And bring him back in a subsequent film.
What's up, guys?
That's intentional.
All right, peace to the panel, peace to the chat. What up? Yeah, I'm just listening to everything, you know. And listen, man, I gotta say, I don't give Ryan Coogler that type of grace, man. It's like there's a such thing as professionalism. Okay, so I've lost a brother, like a literal brother, and I do everything in my power to keep his legacy alive. You know, it's like that's his sword behind me right there. So every time I'm on camera, you know, you see that's him. It's Sir Thomas right there. You know, and me and him, that was my best buddy growing up. You know, and I never thought that I would ever have to give his eulogy, and I did. It was the hardest thing I ever did, but I knew that my brother stands for strength. You know, it's like my brother stands for loyalty, endurance. I don't lay him down, you know, for his final resting place and let everything that he worked for, everything that he stood for, go with him. You know what I mean? I feel very, very strongly about that. And I think that's the reason why Derek Boseman said that his brother would want the character to go on. I think it was more likely that they were listening to the company, the corporation. You know, I think that was more likely because for Black men, which is what we all are, we understand what it means to be a man and what we stand for. There is never any excuse to let your dream die with you. You know, we're proud men, Black men are. You know what I'm saying? So I never bought that, ever. You know, they needed to be, I'm sorry, go on. Somebody was saying something.
You're
I was
muted.
gonna say,
Yeah,
let's
chill,
cut over
muted.
to the brother after that, but I guess I was too antsy with it. But yeah, let's cut over to Derek Bosen's brother.
Casted T'Challa. I would have been fine with it. Yeah, I would have been fine with it because Chad was not him, and he wasn't Chad. You know, Chad was Chad. T'Challa is just a character. You know, when Christopher Reeves had the accident, they didn't stop having Superman.
Yeah, that's the main
They
point.
just got somebody else to play the role of Superman. I think that the role was far too important, and it was bigger than just one person because of the effect that it had on Black children. Like my great nephew by marriage, from watching the first Black Panther, his aspiration was to be a scientist because he saw this brilliant, elegant, articulate Black man, and he said, I can do that too.
Yeah.
Not only do I need to show you that clip, but I also got to share with you this moment.
You know, everything about Chad was unique. How he lived and how he died was also unique. I realized that he was like an expert at withholding information. Like, I found out in the release that he had been sick since I known him.
See,
He found out.
I figured that. I
at the
figured that.
release. It's inaccurate to say that, you know, they all knew or whatnot, but even
How
the
well
one
did
who
he
did
know?
know. Say that again, Stark.
How well did he know him if he just found that out?
But you know, as Black men, sometimes we can keep like, nah, people don't need to know our struggles like that.
My true blue homies, though, I know their struggles that are going on. You know, my day ones.
No, I feel you.
And
Not to
what's up
mention-
to everybody, one thing I had to say was when we found out Chad was sick, a lot of us wasn't saying that we needed an immediate recast. We didn't even need a Black Panther sequel. I could have waited 5 years, 6 years until they felt like, okay, let's bring somebody else into this role. And they could have did a Shang-Chi 2. They could have introduced the X-Men sooner. They could have gave us a sequel to anything else instead of Black Panther around, what was it, a year after Chad died? We did not ask for an immediate recast.
But see, like Mark was just saying though, the company does have a little like play in it. Well, a lot of play in it. Like Black Panther made $1 billion. Like they like, hey, we need you to get us another bill. Like, please go ahead and make your movie. And you could tell that they was rushed into it by.
But they didn't get
beginning
that bill
of
though.
whatever.
They did
Yeah,
not
they
get
get
that
no-
bill.
yeah, they get nowhere near.
So if you would have gave us
Yeah,
some time, I can get you another $1 billion, but it ain't gonna happen the right way because I don't feel emotionally right to do this. Because I was just arguing with somebody about this. He was saying that T'Challa wasn't the most interesting part of the Wakanda films. So it's cool to do Eyes of Wakanda and all these other projects when it's like, no, if he's the center character, he has to be the most interesting part of those films. Because ain't nobody going to no Thor movie waiting to see Asgard or the other gods in Asgard. No, they go to see Thor and maybe Loki.
People don't fall in love with Loki though. It make me sick. I don't even like Loki. I don't
But
like
because
Loki
of
at all.
multiple films of Thor.
Yeah, word up, garbage. It's been a bunch of garbage. Even the show was, he didn't carry the show by itself, but that's not what we're here to talk about. But at the same time, though, if like, all right, boom, we all done had 9 to 5s, I assume. If your boss come to you and tell you that there's something that you got to do, like either you gonna do it or they gonna get somebody else to do it. They're gonna kick you out the whip, and next thing you know, somebody else got your spot. And I'm pretty sure Ryan looking at this like, this is my baby. Like, he don't look at, I don't know if he read comic books or not, but I know he don't look at T'Challa as the comic book character. He looks at T'Challa as Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Like, and he said, I've seen an interview where he said that like the mannerisms of Chadwick made him change how he handled the character.
That is a problem. That's a problem. You got to be able to distinguish your actor and your character, because even Chad said there could have been a Black Panther movie before me. Originally, Wesley Snipes wanted to do Black Panther. He didn't want to do Blade.
No.
but he
No.
pivoted to Blade, which was better
Yeah.
for him.
It was better for him. Yeah,
There
yeah,
could have been
yeah.
other iterations of Black Panther. We could have had.
I couldn't see Nino Brown as Black Panther, bro. Like, no,
I mean,
no,
come on now, it's Wesley. It's Wesley.
no. It's bigger than Nino. No, bro, no.
This is
I couldn't
Wesley,
see him.
like right before Nino, I would say.
Oh, it would have been before New Jack City.
Before, it would have been beforehand. So
Because
Let
he
me
was
ask you
doing a bunch
something
of
though,
cop
fellas.
movies and shit. Yeah.
Is it? Do you think in the Black community, right? Do you think that it's possible that we do that a lot, where we take a character, the character that they're known for, and we keep them there? You know what I mean? Like if you look at all of the characters, you know, when we were growing up or our parents were growing up. Let's say you see Demond Wilson, aka Lamont from Sanford and Son, right?
Okay.
It's like every time you see him, you're gonna be like Lamont.
Yeah,
You're never gonna see Lamont as anything else but Lamont. You're never gonna see JJ as anything less than JJ. You're never gonna see Urkel as anything less than Urkel. You know, and I think that we do that almost exclusively. Like I understand the concept of being typecast, but a lot of our performers are a lot more versatile than we give them credit for. They are, after all, professional. They're professionally and classically trained as actors. You know, so I would not have I wouldn't write off the possibility of Wesley Snipes back in the day. You know what I mean? Like I mean, he definitely had the physicality, you know, probably even more so than Chadwick, you know, when you really think about it, because he was trained martial arts, you know, all of that stuff. I think that's why he campaigned for it, you know, and that's why I think we might have a hard time, not everyone on the panel, you know, but as a people, we have a hard time digesting the idea of a recast, because we just see it's Chadwick and he's T'Challa and it was tragic what happened to him. So it seems like a betrayal, you know, to even suggest that anyone else do this. But meanwhile, if you look at like white heroes, like we all know, they don't have a problem with that because they understand the importance of keeping something going. You know what I mean? That's why we've had all these Superman, Spider-Man, Batman and stuff. They won't let it die because they know how important it is. But for some reason, what is it? Like 5 years later, we're still stuck on this.
Name me another Black superhero that's been played by multiple actors.
I could give you voice actors for Jon Stewart. That's it.
War Machine don't count because that's in the same universe, and they just recasted them. But like
actually, Culture Mate just said it. Cyborg.
Yeah, he's been guest appearances at a couple
appearances, and he was in the movie. But like Wesley Snipes, there's only one Blade. Is over going to be one.
Well,
Blade.
technically two. Don't forget my man Sticky Fingers.
Sticky Fingers, nah, that don't count. That don't count.
Sticky Fingers for the stuff with music, man. I love Onyx. That's my shit. But no.
But see, I think that was like I think that was a joke from Ryan Reynolds, and that's like Mark was just saying. That's how they look at us. We don't just look at us like that. They look at us like there can only be one. Like Blade literally said out his mouth, like there will never be another Blade, not never be another Wesley Snipes. He literally said, like, y'all can't be what I've done. And truthfully, I don't even really like Blade like that. If he wasn't black, I probably wouldn't even pay him no attention.
I do think Mark is right in the sense that Black people do that a lot. They stick a actor to a character, but there are actors that surpass the characters that they play. There's Denzel's, there's Will Smith's, there's Chadwick's. So, I mean, in the sense that Chadwick was here and he played T'Challa, he was still other roles. So I think that was the great thing about Chadwick.
One of our candidates for recasting Aldous Hodge, he's playing Alex Cross, and that's a character who was played by Morgan Freeman and by Tyler Perry.
We don't count the Tyler Perry one.
Yeah, I was about to say that, but I want to keep it negative.
I only brought it up so I can cut to the super chat over here. It's Lawrence A. recast T'Challa with Aldous Hodge. Until they do right by him, the studio will crumble.
That sounds like a curse.
Yeah, that's exactly what it sounds like.
You know what? In a perfect world, I
Lawrence out here throwing roots at people.
Yeah. So that's the thing that a lot of these brothers don't understand, that are like coming hard after, you know, some of us anyway, about our stance on Ironheart. You know, it's like, it's not even a matter of whether the show is good or not. It's just that I've been saying we got some unfinished business to take care of here. It's like, until you learn how to properly represent a black hero, a black character, there is no going forward because you're just going to jerk her around the same way you did the last one. You know, God forbid, what if something were to happen to Dominique Thorne? What did we just discontinue Ironheart now too? Is that the precedent that we've set here? Is that the understanding that we have? Like our heroes are only as good, their shelf life is only as good or only as long for as that actor is alive. That's our understanding, you know? So unless we have that understanding, we should not be moving on, and they should not be getting millions of dollars, billions of dollars more from us until they can commit to what they claim to care about. You know, they're doing all this in the name of blackness. You know, oh, we got some black superheroes up in here. Oh, we're so diverse. Oh, we're so progressive. But then they just treat them like they're disposable.
What Dub was saying earlier, though, all right, these are comics, and it should be like a suspense of disbelief. Like we should get to a point where it don't look like reality. But at the same time, they gave us a black man in a Captain America suit that was closest to reality. And what we say, we didn't want that. He was getting his ass whooped the whole movie. He didn't do nothing super in that movie. Out man, when I seen the old Cap jump down, like he did a superhero land and jump down and kept running. Sam look at the steps and have to go down the steps like that's not that's not superhero, bro. Like
Culture, you know why? You know why? Because Steve Rogers was regularly getting some ass. Did you see Sam Wilson getting any ass in his own movie? That's the point that I'm trying to make. Where was his love interest? See, they don't develop our characters. They didn't give that black man nothing. You know what I mean? I ran down the list. We all know Spider-Man. You know, he got Mary Jane. You know, we all know Thor. We all know Tony Stark. You know, we all know Captain America. We all know Ant-Man, Hawkeye. All of them got significant others.
Yeah.
Where's Sam Wilson's motivation? They don't develop the black characters.
They so don't ask me in the original script for the Captain America Brave New World, the sister who played the Secret Service agent was supposed to be his love interest.
Yeah,
same one that he had back in the comics from Harlem, who was a civil rights, activist. That was supposed to be his love interest. They dropped the ball on that.
They developed him. They developed him a little bit.
They're always dropping the ball when it comes to us, though. That's the thing.
They developed him a little bit. He was broke. He was broke and couldn't get a loan. They developed him a little bit. I know that much about Sam Wilson.
I know people are tired.
Game, bro.
I know we're often tired of hearing this, but the reality is such, and it will keep coming up every time we have these discussions. We don't own these characters. Yeah. A corporation owns these characters. A corporation does what a corporation wants to do. How do you feed a corporation? Money, right? And you're trying to get the largest denominator to give you that money. And so our interests are not going to be at the top of their list. Developing our characters will never be at the top of their list. Black Panther was a fluke in their eyes. They weren't expecting that. Nobody, even Ryan Coogler, wasn't expecting it to be the phenomenon it was. Mm-hmm. And it caused a lot of stir in Hollywood because what did it do? It broke a glass ceiling that had previously existed. Wait, you could have a black lead character on a poster that goes to Japan and China? Those people, they don't want to see black faces on their movie posters.
Yeah,
you put black face on there? You have all black cast? You got a black director? You got black people behind the camera doing costumes, doing set designs? You're saying they don't need us to be successful? They don't need us. Don't let Tyler Perry get a clue and decide to open up his studios to making black superheroes. Don't let Tyler Perry say, you know what?
As long as he will write the script. All right. Yeah.
I don't want Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry got a weird case.
I'm going to do milestone movies under the Tyler Perry studios. It'd be a wrap.
Nah, it'd
be a wrap.
Icon's wig would be terrible.
Can I just ask a question, an honest question? Can I just ask an honest question?
No.
If they misrepresented some of our distinguished, respectable Jewish brothers in a movie, how quickly do you think they'd have to answer for their misrepresentation?
They
Oh,
did,
look,
didn't they? With
they
Mark
listen.
Spector.
Be careful.
No, that didn't
Be
reach.
careful about
that
what?
didn't
Telling the
air.
truth?
That was picked like they found it during like the editing process, the development process, and they corrected it.
Before they actually aired it.
Yeah, it would never.
Nobody says to
Which
anybody
was
else.
even crazier.
Nobody says to anybody else but us. We
Everyone's
don't own these characters.
my
They
comments
own the
about
characters.
Tyler Perry. Understand, Tyler Perry Studios. I'm talking about the studios. I'm not talking about Tyler Perry. I'm talking about his studios, the ones that Marvel leases from him because they're so good.
Yeah, that he has the property of it, so at least he can lend it to a black IP, and he won't charge them when he charges Disney.
Exactly.
But see, Josh and Marcus, they made a great point on their show last time about how the people that are ahead of us, the OGs, they don't really look out for us. They really in it for themselves. I can't see Tyler Perry lending his studio to somebody for less than what he would pay Marvel. That's why he is lending it to Marvel, because Marvel gonna kick out. Marvel gonna keep him a billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody like us, he ain't really trying to tell us good stories. Like, he don't care.
Marcus was right. Like, if these rich people were gonna help, they'd have done it by now. Oprah, who else is there? The Rock. Who's that? Brian Adams or Byron?
But it's possible though. You know, when we get these people together,
is possible.
Behind look what Spike Lee did with Malcolm X. Studios wouldn't give him funding.
Good.
He went to Michael Jordan. He went to Oprah, right?
Spike.
And they gave him the money to make the film. Damn near almost won an Oscar. Should have won an Oscar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Malcolm X, one of the greatest movies ever.
That's the best biopic ever, honestly.
Yeah, it truly is.
Honestly, I would put that over Ray.
Funded by black people. So it's possible.
But how do we get to that point though? Like, we can barely get people to come together to try to recast like the most important black character as of today, right now.
Supporting more black content.
Seems impossible until it happens. I think we're on the verge of doing that. We're changing. People's minds are changing, like as we speak, week by week, day by day. So don't like give up. Don't feel like, oh man, how do we get there? The place we're at now with recast and how some people are turning off to the child, which they used to be, or accepting and open to it, is remarkable. The more years we pass that get away from Chad's death, the less sensitivity that there is, and the more people wake up and go, yeah, why isn't T'Challa on screen? Secret Wars is going to reboot things, right? I read that comic book, so we can have him back.
If they do Secret Wars without my nigga having that gauntlet, I'm done with Marvel. Like, that's what will get me away from Marvel, because I am a Marvel fanboy. But if T'Challa don't have that gauntlet, man, it's over. Like, it's or at least something like comparable to it, because that was such a big part of the story.
T'Challa literally recreated the current 616 universe when he had the gauntlet. That included, remember, in that Doomsday storyline, T'Challa destroyed all the vibranium. Remember?
Oh no.
He got rid of all the vibranium to just so he could beat Dr. Doom. Now he had diversified Wakanda's economy, which is why Wakanda was still able to remain powerful, what have you. But he technically got rid of all the vibranium. When he got the Infinity Gauntlet and recreated the 616 universe, vibranium all of a sudden existed again.
Oh, okay. All right.
He didn't put himself back together with Storm, but vibranium was back.
I want to see that too. And see, I hope they will use that part of the story. They already trying to raise vibranium.
2012, the Secret War came in 2015. So for about 3 years in our lives, we read a comic book of Black Panther that didn't have vibranium. It was inert, I think.
It was inert. He rendered all vibranium inert.
Inerts. I had ED. Let's get to these super chats. Kingsport Cal.
Just like you and me, but she's homeless. She's homeless.
Jim Wayne's doing that parody is the funniest shit ever.
I remember that.
Here's some cash because Mark makes good points. Hey. Appreciate the money.
Hey, Culture, you said, how can we get there? We got to get 50 Cent to say he ain't making no more power until they support black media. Then black people will definitely be marked behind.
50,
Power ain't the only bad black content. It's
50
Tyler
the
Perry too.
last one. 50 the last one. He is not giving up his money for nothing. 50 selfish. I don't really deal with 50. I used to love 50. People used to call me 50 in high school, and I was like, don't do that. Please don't do that. Wear it up. But the way I look at it as far as power go, the first 3 seasons was good. But I think like he lost focus of what he was trying to do because he was trying to put himself in the storyline too much. And that's where they fucked up. And
actually,
I don't,
you give Young Buck. You give Young Buck more than 50. Just throwing that out there.
Nah, nigga, don't do that either.
Yeah.
Nah,
I didn't say nothing about Young Buck's personal life. I'm just saying you look a little. Okay, never mind.
Nah, yeah, motherfucker. Anyway, yeah, chill. Nah, all right, boom. I got something to say to you too. When it comes to the recast of T'Challa, bro, I feel like y'all sleeping on Damson, bro. I rewatched Black Adam just to see if Aldis like really did justice to Hawkman, because Shahara Hall is one of my favorite heroes, period. And with them making Hawkman black, I figured they would make Shahara Hall black, and they would have that Egyptian story, right? So when I first watched the movie, I only watched it once, and I waited till it came out on Max to watch it. I wasn't finna pay my money for that, but watching it, the only thing I could see in that movie was The Rock. The Rock was everywhere. The Rock, like, it was no outshining The Rock. A couple days ago, I just went back and rewatched it. Now, Aldis Hodge does a good job, but he don't have like, I don't feel like he got the gravitas to carry a Black Panther. Like, and I know I keep going back to Chadwick, but that's the only example we really have on the silver screen. Man, Chadwick got, and he put himself into that character. And Chadwick got like quotables. He got things that you can live by daily.
You can't use that because we haven't given Aldis a chance yet. What we have is a history of people like Bruce Wayne was played by Michael Keaton, and no one can see that. And the Joker with Heath Ledger, huh? Like, we have lots of times where we scratch our heads at these castings and then they execute well. The same can be done with Aldis.
I don't know. I never looked at Batman. Like, I'm not a Batman fan. I'm a Superman. And Batman really what carries his movies to me be his villains. Like, and that's another thing about Chadwick's Black Panther. Like, the way that he was able to what's the word I'm looking for?
Juxtapose.
I ain't said that word in so long. But the way he was able to clash with Killmonger. Like, Killmonger was a great villain. He was so much of a good villain that they forgot about Claw. And Claw is like T'Challa's main villain. It's been Wakanda's main villain. And they killed him off like he don't matter. And they put Killmonger in like the spotlight. And now they even got Killmonger sitting on the throne in the comics. So that's how much like he made a difference. But Chadwick was still able to like steal the spotlight from him. Like, and Killmonger got quotables the whole movie. Like, I feel like one thing that makes a great movie is it gives you information. It not only entertains you, but it gives you information to live by. It gives you things to like think about and understand and get to a point of like, this is almost reality. Like, I can take this and put this in my daily life and it works.
I hear you. More to come.
Only cause I pay her. Roxanne. All she wanna do is party all night.
You're a popular Mark. I'm here for Mark with a C. Pause. That's not a pause. We're here for Mark with a C.
Yeah, he had the pause.
Hey, give us some
J
of
in the house.
Mark, what's a tweet that you saw today that made you go, "Oh, this is great"? 59 years of T'Challa, recast T'Challa. Like, what made you like happy today?
I would say the short that you put out. I don't know if that was on, if I saw it on X, but it was actually Chill. You were the first person I looked for today because I knew, what day it was and everything. So, I went to see the short. I saw the pages flipping and all that stuff. And that's where we need to be, man.
Oh, that one.
Yes, the short. Yeah. That's
it.
what everybody needs to keep in mind, man.
I was gonna play it even if you didn't say one of my tweets, but yeah, let's go ahead and find it and play it. 59 years ago this month, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby created an awesome comic book debuting the Black Panther, T'Challa. He came into the Fantastic Four whooping butt. He called it a hunt. Human Torch put out. Where's that invisible woman? Smells like she's over here. The Thing was nothing. He even got their leader, Mr. Fantastic. A character of African descent like this has never been seen. And over the last 59 years, appearance after appearance, cameo, cartoon, films, this character has been uplifted, and it's thanks to people like Chadwick Boseman. Today, we celebrate year 59 of T'Challa and say to continue his presence on screen in honor of those who got us here. T'Challa is not a mantle to grow up into. This is a depreciating asset. T'Challa is the foundation set year after year since that day in July in 1966. Recast T'Challa. That might be my best performing tweet of the day. Look, it's got 2,000 views, retweeted 48 times. I think that's my record. That's why I put it earlier in the day. I launched that thing at 6 a.m. in the morning today.
6 in the morning. That's dedication.
Well,
that's a good tweet.
In the morning.
That's
Yo,
good.
what I think that a lot of people forget, man, is that historically speaking, Black people are at the forefront of everything that is relevant, everything that is cutting edge, everything that other people want to tap into. You know what I mean? We are the leaders of this. So, you know, trying to play catch up to me is an alien concept. You know, it's like these days, I feel like we're following trends instead of making trends, you know, and by allowing stuff like that to happen, you know, for them to, and I know the character doesn't belong to us and everything like that. I mean, in some sense, I mean, we paid a good part of the billion to put that over the top, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And while they were marketing it, they were constantly invoking our names, you know, as Black people. You know, this is what they, you know, what they're doing it for. Jack Kirby specifically said that he created the character for the Black community because he wasn't seeing a lot of representation there. You know what I mean? So to some degree, we do claim it. To some degree, we do own it. You know, maybe not monetarily, you know, on paper and things like that. But I do think, especially as Black men, we have the ability to say, we don't like what you're doing with this. You know what I mean? And we definitely speak with our wallet. I did a story 3 years ago on my channel about how just before Wakanda Forever came out, they were panicking because they remembered that Black Panther was primarily the story of a father, you know, for fathers and sons. You know, it's like the article that I was quoting was saying that girlfriends and wives were talking about how their husbands or their exes took their sons to go see this. It was a bonding thing. So they were worried about merchandising. You know, like, how are we going to sell this? Because the original one resonated so strongly with fathers and sons. Now, all of a sudden, you got all these sisters on the cover of Ebony magazine. You know what I mean? Talking about Wakanda Forever. It's a totally different thing. You know, now our sisters are beautiful. We all know this, but that's not what this is. It's not what it has been historically. You know, so they flipped it on us, and we absolutely 100% have the right to say we don't appreciate this. You know, we're not going to pay into this. You took the king out of the kingdom the same way as you took the father out of the home. You know what I mean? Like, how much longer are we going to put up with this type of thing from Hollywood, where they constantly do this? At the time, I was likening this to James Evans. You know, like in Good Times. You know, when they killed James Evans after like season 3, you know, and they've been doing it since then. So it's just consistent, man. You know, and there comes a time when, as Black men, you got to say, listen, we're here. You know what I mean? It's like we want a space, a place in our family. You know, I know that they're anti-patriarchy, but that's not who we are. And that's not what our people need. So I do think we have the right to say something, man. And I think we have the ability to say something.
You made me think of a video that came out 7 years ago. I'll find it in a second. Charles says, so what's crazy is with T'Challa being erased and Eyes of Wakanda becoming more uplifted, and because of Black Panther, The World to Come, Marvel Knights, Black Panther, The World to Come, it's just too many pieces pointing to what Marvel wants to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what do they want to do? They want to mantleize the role of Black Panther, so it's not tied to T'Challa, and they want to emphasize Wakanda as a concept.
You know, Captain America's been more of a mantle in the comics than the Black Panther has.
Absolutely.
Like we got like 4 or 5 different motherfuckers who didn't have the mantle of Captain America and who had their own comics.
And then the funny thing is Samuel's next, and he says, "Just give me a Static Shock movie, and I'm fine with that Black representation." The closest you're gonna get to a Static Shock movie is when me and Josh and Paul from Black Comic Lords and Charles linked up to do a in-canon documentary of the Static Shock Anansi team up. It is on my channel. It's on my profile. Go to Chillmonger homepage, and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. You want a static movie? I gave you a 20-minute static movie on Juneteenth. Okay, let's get some super chats in.
In my bag now, in my bag now.
Michael Nemo, $5. As the token Latinx here, just showing support. Recast Namor. No more.
What's wrong with Namor?
Does Tanakh still have his weird case? Is that still a
he
thing?
got a weird case
He
too.
got announced to be in Doomsday, so I
I thought Namor was straight.
He had a weird case at one point. I don't know whatever happened to it.
A question for y'all. Speaking of Doomsday, Ian McKellen's like what, 93 years old? Like, are we guaranteeing he will make it until the premiere of Doomsday? If something happens,
we'll just replace him with Michael Fassbender if necessary.
And yeah, so if something happens to him like next month or something, you would think that they would recast this Jewish mutant character.
I'm not rooting for something to happen to him, but if
bro, because he was the best Magneto, bro. Like Michael Fassbender,
93 years old.
Yeah, Buddy carried his weight as Magneto, man.
But we get the same treatment though, and we see that they clearly do bring back actors to continue playing roles. So Chadwick isn't the only actor who died playing this role. All these actors are dying playing this role because, like with Michael Keaton, he came back to play the Flash. We didn't think he'd be Batman again, but technically he still is. They could bring back Arnold Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze.
Wow.
I hope they don't. But
I would rather see Michelle Pfeiffer.
Technically, Fassbender was a younger Ian McKellen, so
if something happened to Ian,
they were the same exact character. Yeah, they're supposed to be the same character. But I'm still not off this Damson shit, bro. Like, damn, bro, they can age Damson up, bro. They can age Damson up to make him look like he old enough to be, because the nigga is our age. Well, my age, I'm 36. Like,
there's nothing wrong with his age. If Marvel's smart, if they do recast T'Challa, if they do say, hey, we're going to bring T'Challa and Storm into the MCU, do it younger.
The problem
that's how you make money. You make it so they can do these roles a good 15, 20 years.
The actor, if they make him younger, they'll put him as Toussaint. They'll say that
Junior,
T'Challa's son grew up, and that's why Damson Idris is 33 years old, and that's why I don't want to root for Damson anymore because of the fear.
But Chad, you said Damson's 33. Chadwick was 36 when he took the role in Civil War. He was 36 years old.
Off the age that he actually was. He actually looked pretty good for his age. So black don't crack unless you smoke it. So it can still work.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
I don't think logic and reasoning is going to work here. And we can say, yeah, T'Challa was blipped, so that's 5 years. He didn't age anyways. The way that they're going, they're going to make Damson Idris the Toussaint. And if they use Aldous Hodge, it's because they're going to make actual T'Challa.
But what if the story Ryan is trying to tell is that good though? What if like
tell themselves then they'll say, look, the story's so good it'll work. It's got to be the son. And
so
we get a character who we can invest in, who won't exist in reboots. We're gonna have a depreciating asset with no long-term benefit, which is growing up the child and making him get 3 movies and then boom, poof, he's gone. When we get to phase 1 of a universe again, they're going to use regular old T'Challa, not T'Child. So we're just investing in something with no long-term. It's a dead end. You get it?
Yeah, I get it. What if they never mentioned that he was Toussaint? Like, they say it once or something, and then it disappears, and nobody remembers that his name was Toussaint. He's now T'Challa, the T'Challa.
That's what they'll say, but he's not.
T'Challa, some T'Challa.
So
He's the
Ryan's Black
T'Challa.
Panther
Well,
3.
who was in the coffin?
A scroll.
No, I don't know.
I like that.
I feel like they should have never did the coffin scene because they did that for the money. They did that
Ryan's
for the
Black
money.
Panther 3 comes out after Secret Wars. There is the chance that we don't get a T'Challa up until Secret Wars, and then it's a soft reboot, and then we get the new T'Challa in Black Panther 3, which is technically Black Panther 1 after the reboot.
Stop trying to make my head hurt.
So
no,
then
he making sense. He makes sense.
So
it makes sense to me because I'm open to Secret Wars can do anything they want. They can introduce a mutant who brings dead people back to life. They can ask Molecule Man, Mole Man, Doomsday Man, everyone.
The smartest thing Marvel could do is to do a hard reboot with Secret Wars and bring back everybody they want to bring back. You could bring back, you start from one, because now you don't have to worry about what you did in phase 1 where you have to develop your characters, develop your universe. Everyone knows who these people are. Everyone knows these characters. Everyone knows the backstories. You don't need to retell the Batman origin. You don't need to retell Peter Parker's origin. People know those characters already, right? So hard reboot the entire MCU. You could bring back Captain America, Iron Man, whoever.
They need a Tony Stark. They need Tony.
Bring back everybody with brand new, younger actors, new young actors with new contracts. It's not going to cost them $20 million for 5 minutes of airtime like it does with Robert Downey Jr.
A bunch of no-name young actors to
no-name actors that can play the roles for 20 years, and you start from scratch.
You want to do that after Secret Wars, like 3 years?
Absolutely, that's what I want with Secret Wars, because that's what happened. That's kind of what happened in the comics.
Yeah,
I want
everything was refreshed.
I want them to do the Secret Wars and then plan out an ending. Maybe have the Avenger versus X-Men, and then go to phase 1 of a brand new universe where nothing we've ever watched matters anymore. Start anew. I want to go a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Well, see, I heard T'Challa is in Doomsday. They said that he's supposed to be on a team with Shuri, and they're supposed to like go through the my brother's back thing in Doomsday, and then Secret Wars. But the thing is, and I hear that's why Dempsey don't want to take the role, like because he don't want to be used for Doomsday and then disappear.
Yeah, don't nobody want no temporary shit. So if that's the case, just let's finish with Shuri. Then after Secret Wars, reboot it. Just like what Doug was saying, a hard reboot probably would be the best.
I don't ever want to see TJ ever again.
They got too many loose ends that are just open out there that they can't tie up. Because like, what's going on with Hercules? What's going on with the Eternals? What's going on with Star Fox? What's going on?
You can let those things be loose ends, especially to Junior.
Yes, especially this is my son.
That's a huge ass loose end. though. I walked out of this scene. I'm not gonna lie to you. I walked out. I didn't even finish the movie. I was gone. I told my mom,
Black Panther, the first movie, that had to be the biggest slap in the face to black men ever. You know what I'm saying? Like really, and it's just it blows my mind that it blows my mind that it wasn't we didn't call that out en masse. You know when it happened
because we are replaceable. We're disposable people.
I felt like they were showing us that one day we are going to recast T'Challa, but it just won't be today. I thought that's what they were showing us.
If that's the case, we could have waited 6 more years for a Black Panther sequel, and they could have just had some nigga in a mask and not take it off till they were ready to put an actor there. And then it's just like
what they were showing us. What they were showing us was a bastard. That's what they were showing us. They were showing us the statistics in the black community. How many children are born to unwed mothers out of wedlock? That's what they were showing the world.
That's what I was saying about the trope, man. Because think about it. What's the difference between that and T'Challa being an NBA player who knocks up his girlfriend and buys her an apartment out of state and says, "Here's some money. I'll send you some money every month. Just take care of the kid."
Zion.
That's exactly what it was.
That's exactly what it was.
Yeah,
this is what I'm talking about. It's a trope. This is the most honorable superhero ever.
But that's why I said, isn't it a trope if it's real?
Like as black males, it's only
it happens.
They're taking care of the child.
Man,
no.
I don't go to comics for reality. I go to comics to have escapism.
I agree with you on that point.
You know what? Someone said to me one time.
for us to look up to basketball players and rappers and stuff. So characters like T'Challa means something for us to look up. It's something that is to strive for. We don't got to just look up to LeBron, or we don't got to look up to just Jay-Z. There's other intellectual people out there who they also muddle down T'Challa's intellectual ability and his scientific stride.
Speaking of LeBron, this is what you see. LeBron James, face of the franchise. LeBron James Jr., the rookie. This is what Marvel sees. LeBron James, face of the franchise. LeBron James, face of the franchise. This is LeBron. This is T'Challa. This is a different person from above. This is a different person from above.
Chill, I'm not going to let you slide. You said Zion when he mentioned NBA players. This is nothing like Zion. Zion is a whole different level.
Am I thinking of Anthony Edwards then? Is he the one? No, Zion too. Zion has some.
No, Anthony Edwards is a better. Zion is a freaky frog, and we're not doing that.
The Lawrence report.
I make a point too.
In here for a second, and we'll get back to him when he can. Charles Stewart III. I gave you the link on IG, so come and join. Now, this is what I was thinking about just a few moments ago. Here. All right, I'll play another one in a second. You know, we got to divide it.
Why would we want to hold another black actor back from being able to do that with other black people? Y'all remember the interview where Chad was like, there doesn't only have to be one. And if you can read between the lines, he's saying there doesn't just have to be one black person in a great role for a character. Other people can do it.
That's the part that gets me, man, because the comment that I see made all the time is, well, there can only be one Chadwick Boseman. Like, no one else could do that role because he's the only one capable of doing that. I can't see anybody else do that. How myopic are you to think that they're not other talented? No disrespect to Chadwick. The man was a generational actor, right? He was going to be the next big thing. But to say that we have no other talented actors that can play a role, like, how little do you think of us that you think that's true?
But see, really, that's a trope that needs to die. Just like the Jordan versus LeBron, and they skip over Kobe. Like, there can only be one. Like, LeBron can't be the greatest because of Jordan. But LeBron almost finna kill his stats. So what are we gonna do once he do that?
I don't think that's a good example there with the.
That's the trope. Blade literally said it, bro. Blade literally said there can only be one.
But there was two.
That line. But you know, the point that I was going to make too about the ideal versus reality is that you know, when it comes to gosh, what was it? Because I was trying to not to forget it because it was a point that was made a while back. But this past Father's Day, this is the example. This past Father's Day, somebody says something to me to the effect of, you know, Happy Father's Day. You know, you're doing the right thing. Not like, you know, some of these niggas out here, you know what I mean, who's doing the wrong thing and all that stuff. And then they start going on and on and on about it. And I'm like, hold up. You started off by saying Happy Father's Day to me. Leave it at that. It's like, why are you bringing that other energy to me? You know what I mean? It's like, if we allow people to define us by the worst of us, that's how we end up in a situation like this. You know what I mean? Where you have Nakia holding this child's hand as a bastard, and people saying, well, you know, that does happen. That's reality. Whose reality? Whose reality do we accept as ours when we're all responsible fathers? You know what I mean? I know, you know, at least we try to be, you know, so my thing is, why would you let that be our representation? It's like at the same time that was going on, I remember I made the point on X where what was it? Superman and Lois. You know, you got Superman, like the 80th Superman, and he's training his sons. You know what I mean? He's embracing his sons. He's hugging his son and he's hugging his wife. And we have to settle for that as black men. You know what I mean? Like,
that's exactly
okay, it happens. Like it doesn't happen in the white community too, where they have single parenthood. Of course it does. But they're allowed to have an ideal to show their people, to show their kids, to believe in.
An image to aspire to become.
And they got to come back and raise him.
He's supposed to be the
whole
ideal.
world is watching Wakanda Forever. The whole world, you know, like this hits harder than we think it does, because some people in the world, the only black people that they see is what they see on TV or what they see in the movies. If we let that be our representation without pushing back against it or questioning it loudly, then we're just complacent in it. And what does that look like, being black men?
This
and
right
anyone
here.
who's saying right now,
This right
who
here.
cares? I don't care
Everything
what
he
the
just
other
said.
group. To anyone saying, I don't care what other people think of me. The effects of what they think of you are actions that take place, violence that takes place, just dehumanization, discredit, opportunities lost. There's the effects are real. I know what they think of you because you got a strong mind. Congratulations, good for you. You don't care what they think, but because of what they think, they will raise their children. They will the ideology will go from one generation to the one below, which results in, I don't know, a bad teacher here and there, a doctor who doesn't humanize with her or his patients, a bad police officer. Like it, the domino effects are incredibly dangerous from just the images we see on our screen. Hello to the
Sure.
Lawrence Report.
What's happening?
I was watching a
What up?
panel
What's
a
up?
couple of days ago. I think it was last week. You had 10 white guys on that panel, 10 of them, and they were doing nothing but cutting up on
Nothing.
Ironheart. You know what I mean?
I've
Yeah,
seen this shit. I had to turn it off.
do you want a dad? Do you want a father? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I had to
It's
turn
like
this shit off. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not just there. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, this is how we get perceived, and a lot of that comes from things like this, where like they know, like a white man knows you're not going to represent a family that I'm not in. You know what I mean? You're not going to represent my woman and my child without me, not on a regular, not like you see it with us. It's like they make sure that doesn't happen too often. Like if it does happen, it's actually the topic of the story. You know what I mean? That is the conflict. That's the drama. With us, it's just a given. That's just the circumstance. It's
And
normal. It's routine.
we really like to point out what's going on with what's written for our community and things that are related to ours, because we all saw Avengers. That shit made $1 billion, but it was an all-white team. So ain't none of us sitting back ragging on, the white Avengers, white person here, there, and there. We went to see it because we were enjoying it. And we want that same thing for our community and for people who are watching it outside of our community.
But see,
Especially with the character that was created for exactly that purpose.
Mm-hmm.
I usually end up on the island anyway, because like you said, how many people grow up like that, bro? Like that was me. Like I am that person who pops ain't shit. And I'll tell you that. I don't have father issues. I just know he ain't shit. Like it is what it is. But I'm doing better with my son. You know what I mean? But as far as what you were saying, Start, like they let that shit roll off their shoulder when they see it happening in their community or it happening with their characters. Everybody was claiming Thunderbolts was so good. I hated Thunderbolts. I'm not gonna say I hated it. The action was straight, but I did not enjoy it because it was a sob story about these people who are actually doing good in life and doing what they want to do. They're choosing to do these missions and shit for Val or whatever. But everybody's crying. Like I've seen people online crying to the Thunderbolts because they're lonely and it's the same shit going on in our community. But when it goes on in our community, people look at it and say, "Oh no, you're fatherless or you Joanna daddy or whatever the fuck." Man, I've seen that. Man, I got so mad. I was like, I can't watch this.
I think I know what clip you're talking about. Did Tony Weaver cover it on his channel? Was this one here?
She said stepdad that it was going to be about black people. What would her Jarvis be called? Joanna Iron Man.
When are nerds going to take all this racist energy and put it towards actual problems in their community? Like how every school attacker has the same YouTubers and subreddits in their search history. How they keep showing up to anime conventions musty, and how VTubers that look like little girls make the most money. People have been making stereotypical jokes about Ironheart's dad since the show release, even though the fathers of most of the Marvel roster are deceased. When that stereotype doesn't work, they say she's a thief. She stole from MIT. But they never said that when Marvel heroes were stealing things from the government across the galaxy and even different realities. These patterns only get recognized in shows with black people because you're looking for ways to make them irredeemable. If you're so racist you can't enjoy a fictional story, go get some therapy.
You could tell when she said,
"Nah, he good." Who is that? I don't know him. I never seen him.
He's a comic creator. I met him last year.
They've been on the panel with some real black nerds. They get their ass stomped out because
Can't they make those same jokes about the little girl from Thor: Love and Thunder?
Yeah, fatherless child. Daddy's a
Yeah.
murderer. Daddy's basically a criminal.
Your father's a
Daddy
literal
went to jail.
villain. Your father's killing gods, and now the god has to take care of your daughter now. Like, we can literally sit here and make that same joke. But
I still don't want to
obviously
defend
we're all
that,
above
that
it.
Ironheart was a thief and she kept stealing things and she joined the bad guys. That's still terrible representation, but fine. You know what I need? I need all those racists on that panel to talk about Ianu that way. Why couldn't they give all the attention to that show?
Chill, I ain't gonna lie, man. I tried to watch Yano off your recommendation. I can't do it, man. It's not visually pleasing. It's not.
I don't know how
He
many
had to
people
go.
know
He had to
about-
go.
Damn.
I love kicking me in the chest.
Chill just didn't snap on you.
He came back. Hey, Nakia got your baby, culture mate.
Oh yeah, funny. Yeah, nah, that's fucked up.
We are not the same, bro. It's like, you know, my whole family's in law enforcement, and I was always brought up to know this. You know, we get judged by the worst of us. It's not fair. It's never been fair, but it is the way it is. But there's something even worse than that, which I talk about in my videos, and that is, it's not so bad what people think of us. It's what we think of ourselves. You know, it's what we accept as real for ourselves. And once again, that goes right back to believing in the ideal versus the reality. We have to give ourselves the ideal at this point, because there are so many of our kids who they're not proud to be black. You know, it's like they're walking around, and the reality of it is that they're on the internet, the same internet where you can see those guys, you know, on that panel talking the way they do. You know, it's like I said before, we should be at the forefront of what's popular. But right now, everything's ass backwards. They're at the forefront of what's popular. They're controlling the narrative, you know? So when our kids go on social media, they're seeing all of this negative reinforcement. And the way they conduct themselves in the street is reflective of that, you know? So we do have a problem when it comes to this. We all know the reality of the situation, you know, as far as we care about our kids, you know, we care about our families, our moms, you know, our wives and stuff like that. But we have a whole industry that's showing us that we don't. You know, we have a whole industry that is dedicated to taking us out of the picture, which is why we have to question it and go against it every time it happens.
Yeah.
You know, as much as we can, because God knows you get a lot of pushback from our very own black men who just want you to just shut up. You know, oh, it's just a TV show. I just had someone in my comment section. God, it's just a movie. Bro, you know what I mean? I can't hold your hand with this, man.
I don't agree with that. No.
Like, that just don't understand it.
It's much deeper than just a movie / TV show. It's a representation, like you mentioned earlier, how they be judging us.
Yeah, I just want to remind you guys of a different world. You know, remember when A Different World was on? For those of you who remember that show, remember college enrollment went through the roof.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
All they had to do, enrollment.
Yes,
specifically.
Even better. You know what I mean? And all they needed to do was see Dwayne Wayne flip those glasses up. All they needed to do was see Whitley, you know, and all of these characters, Freddie, you know, all of them. And everyone wanted to go running to enroll in college because that was an ideal that was set. You know, that's the power of this medium. You know, people want to act like it's just this, it's just that. No, a lot of what you see on TV has been weaponized against us. A lot of our music and hip hop has been weaponized against us. But guess what? That same stuff can be used to uplift us as well without being corny. You know, when I grew up rhyming, you know what I mean? It's like when I was growing up in rhyming and stuff like that, it was about flipping those styles. It was about dropping as many gems in your lyrics as you could, you know? And if you caught them, that was cool, you know, because a lot of times, you know how it is, you know, you get playful with your and witty with your words and stuff, but people will catch it. And that's how we talk to each other, you know. But now it's like, I don't know, bro. It's like we forgot, man. We're supposed to be the leaders in this shit, man.
I think the problem is that we've become divided in ways, and like it's always been there. Because like back in the day, my mom, she told me that there was a divide between a lot of people with like Jeffersons and Good Times, where some people be like, Jeffersons ain't real because I don't live my life like that, or Cosby's ain't real because I don't live my life like that. And some people say Good Times is too depressing. Not everybody's going through struggles and shit like that. When it's kind of like we should be happy for representation on screen and not just be happy with being on screen. but not also belittle anything that's trying to show the different lights that we as Black people experience and that we go through. And
Yes.
then the divide just gets worse, and it's gotten worse over the years, where it's that it could be either cultural, it could be financial, economic, where some people might not understand the plight that we go through and see, oh, that's trauma. And then some people are saying, well, we experience these real life shit right now, and we want to see better things, you know, where life gets better for us. So like the divide, it really needs to stop. And it's hard to say that it needs to stop because we can't really just say like you're this person or you're that person that feels this way. It's hard to really determine.
Yeah, because
Hold on, I want to jump into Lawrence. I keep trying to introduce him, but he never gets a chance to say anything. Go ahead, Lawrence. You've been with us for 10 minutes now.
What's up, fellas? What's up? Chill.
What's happening?
I'm glad to be on this panel with all these brothers right here. I've been following Chill for a minute. So I'm just happy to be on this panel as we discuss all things Black Panther. I just want to say that I'm not willing to throw in the towel just yet. I believe that Marvel is finally hearing our commands and our rally cry. I none want T'Challa Jr., T'Challa, the bastard, whatever you want to call him. We want an actual real Black Panther in the suit. You know what I'm saying? We all have our favorites. My personal favorite is Aldous Hodge. But I think Marvel, again, is finally hearing our rally cry. And I'm so glad that Chill put all these brothers from every medium on to try to celebrate the one and only Black Panther on Recast T'Challa Day.
Yes.
We got a comic book artist in the building. I want to know, when you saw Jack Kirby draw this, the first time you saw this issue of Fantastic Four 52, where were you when you first read it?
You're talking about me?
You referring to me?
Oh.
Yeah, I'm throwing this one at Wait 1 second. Let me not pull that back up, Paul. 6.0, issue 52.
Man,
So,
that's CGC. That's what's up.
It's signed.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm about to take that.
Yeah. Can we...
flex.
I'm saving that for the kids.
What's that for my collection? Yeah.
Let's go to Charles. Charles, so the character turns 59 years old today. Did you like his debut? Did you like read it and enjoy it?
I'm just gonna be very honest. I didn't even know that. I honestly didn't. But at the same time, I'm very happy for that. Oh, I'm seeing like a delay.
Yeah, it is.
We hear you, man.
A little bit.
Oh, you did? Okay. But no, I think overall, like the character itself, like it's just so weird because I can only imagine if like the MCU didn't exist, or at least the betrayal. If like imagine like if Black Panther never came out, which I don't wish that type of world to live in, but how would this character be perceived if its betrayal on the big screen didn't happen? I almost feel like the character in itself would be intact. You wouldn't have all this drama. There's no way that we could get to where we are now without like what was going on, like from the Hollywood betrayal.
Yeah, but the one good thing we could say about the success of the Black Panther film is that it shattered those myths about Black characters, Black directors, Black movie makers, Black stars, etc. And established officially the first A-list Black superhero.
Yeah.
It kind of wasn't one before him. I mean,
Yeah.
the closest we had before Black Panther was Storm. That's
And
the
we ain't
closest
seen a man sitting on an African throne since Coming to America. I was like, wow, yo, like, yeah, that shit.
And think about how it opened the doors. Think about all the Black characters that all of a sudden started to proliferate in comics and in media after the Black Panther film came out. It opened the floodgates because everyone wanted to cash in on the concept that, hey, you know what? If you make a dope Black character and you promote it well, it could actually be successful. Which is why it's so crazy that Marvel is going in the direction they are with this franchise, because you have a character whose singular superhero movie made more money than any other Marvel film. He's the only one to have a singular superhero who made $1.3 billion. You're going to walk away from that money. Your corporation, your job is to make money. Your job is to keep your shareholders happy. And you're not going to keep the shareholders happy. You're not going to put more money in their pockets because you're going in this other direction. You're not chasing the money, which means there's an agenda there. We don't know what the agenda is.
Okay, I was gonna say,
but it ain't making money.
What's the agenda? What's the speculation of the agenda? And I hate like doing this because, like, in one sense, why speculate about something you have no information about? But it's brimming at everyone's hearts. It's like the edge. It's like they got to be doing this. Like, look at all the signs. But it's like, what could be some logical avenues of why they're doing this from a
I'll tell you
studio
why.
standpoint?
I've heard Nate Moore give an answer to this question, and I've heard Ryan Coogler. It was their emotional standpoint at the moment. They couldn't do it. So that's why they did the movie they did. But we are 3 years out from that movie that came in November 2022. Now what? Like, now what's the reason? I think if they do go with Toussaint, then I'm going agenda, white supremacy.
And also, why does this also permeate to animated series and video games?
And the comics. And the comics.
Because y'all kept him out of 97, replaced him with his daddy. The game got canceled, which if he wasn't there, I wouldn't give a fuck about it. And then in the comics, why he got a white son now? What is going on right now with this character everywhere else that should not relate to the MCU? Because again, we did not ask for an immediate recast. I was dealing with it too. My grandma died from cancer that same year, 2 months before him. I understand that feeling. We could have waited 6 years. The same way y'all got us waiting for the next Beyond the Spider-Verse movie, we could have waited for a Black Panther movie.
Yeah.
They did, to double down on whatever this agenda is with this recasting of T'Challa issue. They gave a 15-issue run of comics to the Black Panther, in which they took him away as emperor. They took away his relationship with Storm. They had his sister pissed off at him. They had the whole nation of Wakanda say, F you, dude, you're trash.
Yeah, but what did Steve Rogers tell him? But what did Captain America tell him?
Had Captain America, his best friend, kick his ass and tell him to go back to Wakanda.
That's right.
Had Namor, who is persona non grata in Wakanda, be welcomed back into Wakanda as a hero and savior after he literally killed Wakanda.
Who was writing this shit? Like, who was writing it?
He should not be named by me on the live.
Yeah, now I know why I stopped reading comics after all new, all different Marvel. That sounds terrible.
This is why it has to be some type of agenda, because all of that happened in one singular run.
What's the executive at Marvel? I guess like he got fired a while ago, but who like I guess got caught behind the scenes talking about like
Bo DeMeo?
No, the guy who one of the
Nate Moore.
No, listen, one of
Nate
the guys
Moore.
who said behind the scenes, yeah, nobody's gonna go for like a black superhero and a female-led superhero, talking about like Black Panther and Captain Marvel.
That
Who
was
that
Nelson Peltz.
That was him?
I haven't heard of that.
But he wasn't a guy working at Marvel. He was working for Disney. He was like a shareholder.
Oh, okay, well, okay, then that was it. Okay,
Nelson Peltz and Ike Perlmutter. Those guys were trying.
Yep. Okay, I think it was Ike Perlmutter.
Yeah,
I think
Ike
that was the name I
Perlmutter.
was thinking about. I have this very cynical tinfoil hat theory that it's like, okay, yeah, nobody's gonna go for a black-led superhero movie. No one wants these like female-led superhero movies. Bam, both of them make $1 billion, and it's like, I don't like that. I see the storm coming. Let's cap it at the knees. Matter of fact, let's make it to where, hey, can we step in there? Again, very cynical. Like I had this discussion on was it Behind the Scenes podcast? We were just like chilling and talking about, substitutions of like how it's easy to make a living single show, but then all of a sudden from over the side of the fence, they're like, that's cool. Wait, could we make something like that? But for us, hey, let's make this show, call it Friends. And it's for everyone else, aka the white audience. It's basically the white breadification. It's like, hey, I like that, but can you like filter out the Negro part of it? Is there a way we can I love like You Got Served. The movie's dope, but like, is there something that like my white nephew could like really pop and like? Oh yeah, like Step Up, bam. We got it.
It's like that line from the movie. It's like the line from the movie Sinners. White people love the blues just fine. They just don't like the people that make it.
Exactly. I had explained that to my brother about the whole thing, like culture vulture. I think again, this may not be true at all, but I think that's kind of like the literally the Hail Mary, like long-term plan that I kind of see what's going on, because it's like Why else would that be? The idea of mantelization, because we sometimes tolerate it but get annoyed by it, but it still works with other characters. For instance, like Batman. Batman in his character in his inception doesn't call for mantelization, yet here we are. But the reason why that works because you still have Bruce Wayne still being the top dog in his own character and like, you know, the mantle that he represented, that he started. You don't get the same effect with T'Challa because he hasn't had, well, not from the comic side, but in the movie side, he hasn't had that long-standing history of like, I'm the man, I'm the top dog, I'm, you know, the idealistic, you know, A-list character that you want to, you know, root for. And because of that, I see these execs coming in. It's like, okay, well, what if we got it to where like everybody else, specifically us white people, can get up in there, like sort of a South African type of situation where it's like, oh yeah, I'm African. It's like, oh, you mean you're South African? Well, yeah, still in Africa. It's like colonization. And so like that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. It's like, okay, like I want to get into this role, but I need someone to like. It's like there were kids, there were like even little white kids at like conventions that I would see dressing as Black Panther, and I was like, that's awesome. That's cool, isn't it? But I can only imagine, and I don't know this for a fact, so like just take it as like this is just in my own head. I can imagine like some white parents like, oh, it's cool, but like, little Timmy, wouldn't you want to be like Steve? It's like, no, I like the child. Like,
don't you want to be Spider-Man? Yeah.
If only there was a way that Timmy could, you know, be like Tarzan, a white dude in the jungle of Africa. And again, this is all again like it's not. This is not even like good to think about this. But this is
you own to something though. You own to something.
No, that's
the real life, the real world.
That's what the little boy looked like. He looked like Tarzan.
Yeah, that's real. A lot of parents definitely told their children, don't dress like T'Challa, dress like Spider-Man, just like Captain America. That's real what you're saying. So that ain't nothing made up.
But you know what? There were a lot of Black people that were saying the same thing. Don't dress like Black Panther if you're white.
Yeah.
You know, I remember talking about that in one of my videos. It's like, you know, are we looking to make this character like big or what? You know, you just can't keep him marginalized like that. But a lot of people, you know, they wanted to claim him and keep them all to us. But you know, I mean, listen, I did actually just dropped a video today where I was just talking about, you know, when Black Panther first dropped in 2018, Jesse Jackson and Roy Innes, you know, and a few of them, they had a petition going around where they wanted 25% of what Black Panther made to be donated to the community, like, you know, community activism and building and things like that. And that was a real thing, you know. So I'm sure Marvel and Disney were looking at that as well, because remember, I was, for example, I was saying at the end of the movie, remember they put out a community outreach center in Oakland, California.
Oh yeah,
like, you know, so it was moving in a direction where it was taking a whole life of its own politically, you know. So it was so much bigger than the movie. There were some major awakenings that were happening, major calls for activism and reform and things like that. And for some people, it wasn't time for that. You know what I mean? I know you're going a little bit too fast here. You know what I mean?
There was a major awakening. So was it woke?
I would say so. You know, and remember, it was the first movie shown in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, they don't run that word to dirt.
No, we need to take it back. Like I will fight. Like, and it's not even a word that like.
That's what I was just doing, Charles. That's why I said that. And me and Mark have talked about this before. We're gonna use the word woke properly in its right context, and that's why I said it like that. But when you say we need to take it back, you're actually empowering the co-opters right now. We shouldn't have sidetracked. Keep going, Mark.
No. We have somebody new on the panel. I know you want to welcome him.
What's happening?
I don't want to talk over, you know.
How y'all doing?
What's up, bro?
You were right, because do you remember a movie called Superfly in 2018?
Mm-hmm.
I did not watch it.
Most people didn't.
It wasn't that good. I enjoyed that movie.
I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm not.
I am.
But
there's an original Superfly, though, right?
Stand on it.
I never saw it.
That's an original Superfly.
Yeah, I love the original.
Yeah, the original was
way,
good. The recent one is.
I'm not watching that shit.
I love the original.
Trevor Jackson.
If you remember,
look at
when Black Panther came out, It just wiped that movie just out of there. Black Panther was the movie was a monster. It just wiped Superfly out of there. Because
I'm actually mad you brought it up because now I remember this movie.
Yeah, because
I
people
put this
were
movie
so
so far.
That nigga Perm hitting, huh?
People were so people were so
That.
thirsty to see something different and something positive and well produced and well directed. And Black Panther gave us those things. And it was a monster. I said earlier, I think it was the MCU's Purple Rain. Everybody counted movie out. They were just like, I'm a huge Prince fan. Warner Brothers, Prince wanted Purple Rain to be a double album. And Warner Brothers said, no, nobody really knows you. It's going to be one record. And then when they saw how much it sold, they saw that record sold so much money, they looked so stupid. But that's how Black Panther was. I think everybody thought, oh, okay, it's the Black MCU movie. So what? And then it was a monster.
Hey, Caliber, that was actually a good comparison. I'm from Minnesota and we love Prince. We
Hey, you see over my shoulder right there, right on the wall? Purple Rain.
The brother was blessed. He's still dropping diamonds.
Yeah.
He's still dropping diamonds
and pearls.
He's still dropping a dime. But when you think about it, have you all seen that last video from We Ourselves?
Yep.
Because you all made me think about that. Because you had $1 billion movie like Black Panther. You had Captain Marvel, which was kind of like put in between Infinity War and Endgame, as we all know. But it still made $1 billion. So you would think the second time around, we'll get a little bit more oomph in there.
No.
I wonder, was it by a paycheck?
Let me tell you something, right?
Was
And
it by a
I
paycheck?
It's always about a paycheck.
Whenever I talk about
it's
my
Bob
experience with
Chapek.
this,
It's Bob
What?
Chapek. They call it's Bob Chapek, but they call him Bob Paycheck.
Yeah, paycheck.
Yeah. Listen, guys, did any of you see the original Black Panther movie with your son, with your son or anything like that?
I saw.
My son wasn't old enough yet.
The first,
He wasn't old enough yet.
Okay.
But
Well,
we
mine,
watched it all the time in the house, though. I mean,
yeah, mine was like 9 years old, and I remember, we're watching this thing and everything, and I still feel his hand like right on my sleeve. Dad, after the movie's over, can we go to Toys R Us and get a Black Panther action figure? You know what I mean? Never happened before, man. I could get emotional talking about it because obviously, me and my son super close and stuff. It's just the two of us, but never saw him get that excited before. It was the scene where they were being chased through the street. T'Challa was on top of the car and all that stuff. In the middle of all that excitement, Dad, we need to go. Like right after, we went and got that action figure. You know what I mean? And to feel that, you know what I mean? Like I'm sitting there enjoying the movie as an adult. I'm sitting there like, yeah, this is some dope shit. You know what I mean? But to feel it through a child that way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to know that they took that away is the reason why I go so hard the way that I do. Because those kids back then, they needed that then. You know what I mean? It's like now my son's going to be 17, this year and everything, about to take his road test and all that stuff, But in all that time, from that little child saying, Dad, to now, there's been no T'Challa on the screen. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so even though, obviously, his dad's his hero and stuff like that, we close. Because I hear people say that, well, why can't you be his hero? Man, shut the fuck up. We're talking about T'Challa here. You know what I mean? It's like people are so quick to say, does anybody ever say, why do these kids like Luke Skywalker so much? It's just a character. Why do they like a Spider-Man? But for some reason, why T'Challa? You know what I mean? It's like, it is what it is, man. But I'm just saying, Nate Moore and Kevin Feige and them, they had no idea what they were doing when they decided to trash that character with all of these kids. It wasn't just my son. There was a lot of kids that were moved by that character, and they betrayed all of them.
Maybe they didn't know.
Huh?
Now,
No,
I'm
there's
gonna
no
ask
way
you-
they didn't know because Chadwick knew. You know, he was visiting them in the hospital when they were sick.
He did.
He knew.
That's right.
That's why Chill played the clip that he played. He knew that the people out there loved him, the character.
Were any of you kids in the 80s?
I was born in '88.
Yeah, I was born in '88, so that's
I was.
I was a kid in the 80s.
Did you see anybody have that platform like T'Challa in the movies?
No.
Will Smith.
Will Smith came close.
Shaft.
Bro, Will
No,
Smith was that dude, bro. Will Smith was that dude for a long time.
Will Smith
He came up
like a
he came
Karen.
up in the 90s.
Jim
and he was
Brown.
of us.
You said
That's
Jim
true.
Brown?
Fred Williamson.
Yeah, I mean,
The
yeah,
generation before. Yeah.
like a superhero.
No, we didn't have no hero. We didn't have no
We didn't have like a super. The closest I can think of was like late '90s was like Blade.
Yeah.
That didn't really.
And Pluto Nash.
No, please don't bring it.
Pluto
okay.
Nash is
That's the one thing.
crazy.
It's like, that's the one thing where it's like,
Pluto Nash
I
is
love those
insane.
movies, but all my non-black friends will bring up. It's like, oh, you guys have black superheroes. What about Pluto Nash? What about Blank Man? Come on, don't you like Blank Man? And they always say it in like a very. Like,
So here we go. We're gonna bring up Meteor Man next.
Meteor Man, bro. Meteor Man saved everybody in the hood. I don't care, bro. That was all.
Handyman.
So now you got little
Meteor
kids.
Man saved everybody in the hood.
So now you got little kids saying, "I'm gonna grow up and I'm gonna throw an orthopedic shoe at bad guys." The way Blank Man did. It's not the same effect.
It's not.
You're right.
Because
you're
it's
right.
not taken serious. Like, it's fun to have both. But
And
we
Marvel
don't
knows the effects because this exists. I'll play some more of it.
Well, for me, as the
I'm trying to figure out why we took that away. I'm trying to figure out how that interaction, that legendary hero, then he saw him, and the amazement that his, what did she say? Barack Obama, which
Barack Obama.
I mean, if I can get into politics,
It
but
don't get bigger than Barack.
Obeezy and T'Challa, like that's a high praise. That's a huge like character defining childhood moments.
That's awesome.
But
See,
I didn't really.
And we kind of letting it die when we don't support things that are connected to that, though, like the Eyes of Wakanda. Because I'm gonna watch, just like I gave Ironheart a chance. I'm gonna give Eyes of Wakanda a chance. I got to.
You know what?
I mean-
Jeffrey Thorne got on me last time for talking bad about Eyes of Wakanda. I think he said that his friend was writing it or something. Now, some people are gonna say you got to support Eyes of Wakanda. Some people are gonna say that you shouldn't, because how could you let the Black Panther franchise be successful without T'Challa? Then you're encouraging them to do it. I understand both arguments, and I'm on the side of I don't care about Eyes of Wakanda. I can afford for this not to succeed, but I respect everyone's opinion. Like, if there's 9 of us, right, we might not all agree on that.
I'm still gonna see it no matter what, just because, like, for me, I
Yeah, I gotta
consume
watch.
everything. I consume even the bad stuff, so I can look at it with a critical eye, because I think that's what's missing from a lot of, like, our sphere, like our communities. Like, we don't take time to, like, not just look at something, absorb it, but also like look at it with like critical thinking. And if you do have like a negative opinion or like I didn't like this, go into why, because I think that's the worst thing you can do. I mean, aside from obviously like not like talking about the good things that you like I really appreciate Herschel putting that on BCL. One of the posts is like, yo, it's like there's not enough people talking about what did you like. If you liked it, then why don't you say anything? You're not adding to the mix at all if you're not saying anything good about it. Or if you do have some negative, like at least be constructive.
Well, I'm gonna say this.
I'll watch it, but I just hate that animation style that they have with it. That's one of my big issues. That animation type. If you're gonna do animation, just make it set like X-Men '97, for example, like that animation style.
Yeah,
or
but also
keep
look
hearing
at the
that-
time that we're in. We are in the times of like, I want this cheap and I want it quick. What happens? Quality.
But that animation style is kind of like old school Disney. Like
Not really.
It looked like Atlantis or something. It
No,
looked like
that's
Atlantis
more like 3D
or
roller scope kind of.
the Emperor's New Groove.
It's a different. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a cheaper style, because it's obviously has a lot of computer generated stuff.
Yeah,
There's not a lot of hand
it is a style of animation. It's not necessarily cheaper. It's just a style. If you don't like the style, you don't like the style. There's a lot of stuff that are done in that format now. The what do you call it? The Disney did all of those Star Wars animated features with this exact same animation style.
Yeah,
You know what would
I
be
remember
dope
Clone
if this
Wars.
is done in the style of Prince of Egypt.
It
Right.
reminds me of the Prince of Egypt. To
Yeah.
me, that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, it
no,
does.
no, like the Prince of
I can
Egypt.
see that.
And chill, you had mentioned Jeffrey Thorne. Remember he just wrote the last X Force series, and in issue 2, he had X Force go to Wakanda. And in that issue, there was introduced a character called Sele,
Yeah, but
who
who's that on the cover?
represents.
How come I
Huh?
opened this book and Black Panther wasn't in it?
It's called advertising, bro. It's called
Yeah,
advertising.
advertising. Yeah, he's not even in that.
It's marketing.
The
Just like
character.
how you just had a movie called Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and Black Panther wasn't it. Anyways, I'm gonna talk about that. He introduced this character called Soleil, who's part of this organization in Wakanda, whose job it is to track down Wakandan artifacts of antiquity. And what's the plot of this Eyes of Wakanda series?
That very thing.
That very thing. So I think that's where Mr. Thorne's passion is coming from. He kind of laid an Easter egg in that comic book as to what you're going to see in Eyes of Wakanda. There's this sect of, Wakandan
What's
government
that?
I think the problem with
2024's X Force issue number 2 is that Easter egg. Is the first appearance there?
Yes.
I think
I did a whole video on it.
I think the problem with a lot of this, like Wakanda Forever and like the T'Challa having the white son in the comics thing, is that a lot of casuals will point to this as like it's canon because it happened here. So like to piggyback what you were saying, Charles, is how they're gonna insert themselves into Wakanda is that, well, T'Challa does have a half white son in this comic, so it should be considered
Not
canon.
half, full.
T'Challa has a full white brother in the comics. I mean, it's not.
Yeah,
It's
but
nothing
did
new.
he take over as Black Panther?
Yeah, he
No,
never
he
took
took
over.
over.
Black
As,
Panther,
he was
though.
the head of the Hatut Zaraze. He wasn't allowed to take over as Black Panther because he's white.
Exactly. They want the top spot.
And that's what they're trying to do is, like Charles was saying, insert their way into something that really is not for them.
Well, do you remember the thing they were trying to
Hey,
run
it was
with?
written by Christopher Priest.
Do you remember what they were trying to run with one time?
Yeah.
Do you remember what they were trying to run with? They were saying, "Oh, T'Challa died in the comics when he did not. He was in a coma."
Mm-hmm.
Remember how they were trying to run with that? So I guess they would. What you're saying? They're trying to.
I thought he did die in the comics. He came back.
No,
He did not. He
That's
was.
when he took over temporarily, and then he came back. And then
Shuri
became
was
the,
never alive
Diamond.
and the only Black Panther. T'Challa was always there during that 3 years until she had her death because Thanos' forces took her down.
And Shuri's supposed to be a goddess. So if anything, you're devaluing her character by just making her the Black Panther because she's supposed to be a goddess.
There's not much story for her to do. There's everything that she did in the comics as the Black Panther we saw in a movie. The next thing for her to do is to die by Thanos, Proxima Midnight, and then she can come back with her new powers, the Aja Adana, if you want the character to grow. But talking about
Did you just give the storyline for Secret Wars?
Talking about Shuri
I didn't know that.
is
I
a
didn't know
That
distraction. We need
depends
to
on
not.
the MCU.
Am I muted? Hello. Oh, I'm not muted. You guys are just being rude. Okay. Talking about Shuri is a distraction. What we got to do is remember recast T'Challa, which is trending in entertainment with 1,022 posts. Congratulations, we did it. Recast T'Challa needs to be.
Really?
Yeah, we did it. We need to be aggressively pro T'Challa and not talk about Shuri. We got to be anti Toussaint, like Andre Ware put it. Once again, we continue to ask Marvel to recast T'Challa and not age up Toussaint. Some of these. The bastard, yes. The dictionary definition of a bastard. Warrior King T'Challa also gave us a little bit of a tweet. Here's some images, some comic books that we see. Someone over here, Andre Ware again, he was active today. Gerald Hill, lots of people. Here's Tina. She dreads me. She says, Montage has always been my pick for T'Challa. Let my boy get that job. I'm gonna retweet it. Look, it already has 10. Let's go hook up Tina. I love when I see a tweet have like 11 retweets and I'm like, oh, it's going somewhere. Cool. When I click on like, it'll further boost this. Fatal J's been going crazy. Marvel, it's important that you read this. I know on the outside looking in, it looks like people who are tagging recast T'Challa everywhere are just selfish fanatics. But Marvel Studios, you guys gave us a movie and a character that will be forever iconic. Down below was a thread explaining some things.
Hey, chill.
I'm
I had
gonna
to
pause.
put mine out about an hour ago, though. My tweet. I just put my tweet out about an hour ago.
Okay,
Yeah, I
I'll
loaded
run
it up
straight
before
to
I went
that.
to
Let's
work.
go.
You know, see, here's the thing. I don't mess with anything that Disney is doing anymore. If they're marketing it towards Black people, because like I said, I feel like we got some unfinished business. They got to make this right. You know what I mean? I don't care about Eyes of Wakanda. You know, it could be good. That's not even Ironheart could be good. To me, that's not even relevant. That's not even an issue. You know, to me, it's like you slap me in my face and then you throw me a couple of bucks. Here, I go to pick it up. Slap me in my face, throw me a couple of bucks. Slap me in my face, throw me a couple of bucks. How many times am I going to keep going down and getting this money before I lose, you know, like my own self-respect? You know, one of the things I was talking about is that this is not just a one-off. You know, it's like I also did a video talking about Disney's history with disrespecting Black characters and not developing their, you know, the character. You know,
Ooh.
it's like when you go down the line, you look at John Boyega, Finn, who actually talked to Kathleen Kennedy about being disrespected. You know, he said if you market a Black person, you should feature that Black person. You shouldn't just diminish him, you know? And that's how he felt. When you look at Thandie Newton in Solo, a Star Wars story, she said, I was the first leading Black woman in a Star Wars movie. And you just killed her like it was nothing. She literally said that. You know what I mean? Nia DaCosta, director for the Marvels.
Captain Marvels.
You know, she said she felt like she got thrown under the bus. You know what I mean? It wasn't Disney, but I also talked about Ray Fisher, you know, how he felt he was disrespected. This is a long line,
Jonathan Majors, Blade, the new Blade film.
Let's look at Disney. Look at Disney animation. We never had a Black prince, and when we got a Black princess, she didn't have a Black prince to pair with, and they turned her to a frog.
For the majority of the movie.
So miss me with your elbow, your ears of Wakanda. I don't care about all that. You know what I mean? It's like you got to come correct. You got to answer for how you've been misusing these characters, and at the same time talking about how we're all for Black people, we're all for diversity. Maybe if they weren't talking that talk, I wouldn't hold them accountable for walking that walk. You know what I mean? But they go so hard with that stuff, and they make it such a joke. That's the reason why those 10 dudes is over on that other panel laughing. You know what I mean? Because
Wait,
the joke.
You don't have to say it on here, but them 10 dudes talking on the panel, does the channel begin with an N?
Yeah.
All right.
You see, you can tell they never got
know
their
what
ass
it is.
whooped, though. That's the difference. They never got their ass whooped.
That's what I'm saying. They need their ass whooped.
Yeah. When people
We all know what it is. What I
the
don't
first
like, what I
30
don't
minutes
like, what I've been
listening to
seeing is that there have been so many dudes who are dedicating so much of their channel to critiquing them. You know
Gray
what I mean?
man.
Like we can acknowledge that happened, but
usually
I
don't
don't
bring 'em
like
up.
what's been
Yeah.
going on as far as everyone is doing reaction videos to that, and they don't seem to realize the more they do that, the bigger they get.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, we got to do something different than like dry promoting somebody else.
We're doing it right now.
We need to, like, start-
helping the algorithm.
Yeah, we need to start treating people like, again, respectfully. But like, you know, when you play a game, you got your main characters and you got your NPCs. Your NPCs, non-playable characters, not important. You're not important, so therefore I'm not going to acknowledge it. Now I know that's something that's easier said than done, especially in like this like very like volatile space in the nerd community. But sometimes, like I've seen a couple of like videos on TikTok where it's like after like white Black Panther came up and say, all right, so this happened in this issue. Oh, by the way, and they just like side skirt. This is my new comic about like, you know, a Black sci-fi, and they just like completely went off the rails talking about their own Black independent IP, and they didn't go back to it. They didn't circle back to it. It's like, I'm just not going to consider it as important. I remember Paul Mooney, he made a joke about like how Woody Allen, man, it's like, man, I hate his films, man. They never have no Negroes up in there. Now, again, at the time, this was like back when he was still alive, but he said like, now Tyler Perry, you know, how we feel about him, say, at least I like what he does in his movies. Like, he does what white people do to us. He makes them not important. They're not in his movies because they're not important.
Yeah.
Don't got to
You know the greatest. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's it.
I was gonna say you mentioned non-playable characters. The greatest non-playable character we have right now.
Who?
Is this guy. Oh man.
He's non-playable. You can't bring him up.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Hold on, let me add it. You got to tell me though. Before
Oh
presenting the
yeah,
screen,
add it.
Remove the other media. Okay, let me remove my other media. There.
What the hell?
Who the hell is that?
Bastard.
What the hell is that?
Oh, man. House of the Dragon.
One dude to tell the truth.
Yeah.
See what that got him.
I had this open. I want Lawrence to read your tweet out for us. Hello? Am I
Lawrence,
muted?
you there?
No, you there. We hear you.
Read, brother.
Lawrence. Oh, maybe he's lagging, but can you read your tweet?
Somebody got to read it.
It's not me, right?
Nah,
No, we hear you fine.
He been lagging the whole time.
Chill, you might as well read it, man.
Yeah, go ahead and read it, bro.
It says, for me, it's simple because Chadwick died. That doesn't mean that the Black Panther character should die also. Marvel, recast T'Challa. I know Chadwick would want his character to continue and not a child version. I agree. I think that's valid. I think we have to always include that the T'Child is not actually T'Challa.
Big facts.
Don't hold up. Wait. I'm trying to minimize you. Before you come on, make sure that
he's
your
already been
family-
on, chill.
Huh?
He's already been on. You already put him on the panel.
Yeah, you put him on the panel.
So I was just like hitting all the wrong. You got to be family friendly with it. So I'll put you on in 5
He was
seconds.
making sure he's wearing drawers and not smoking a blunt.
I swear it looked like he was smoking something.
I don't think we should have mentioned that twice on this show.
Oh, my bad.
Listen, when Marvel pulls like a huge 180 and comes back and actually does recast, I'm gonna need them to do a big. They're gonna have to pull out the stops, and they're gonna have to do it just like when Superman came back from that Kryptonian healing state. He's gonna have to come up with long flowing locks like this, dreaded up with the little, metal beads inside and everything, looking buff as mess. And he's gonna have to come out and say, "Welcome, your king."
You know what? I'm gonna say this: if anybody has connections to Marvel, send them my way. I got a wonderful idea on how to bring the T'Challa. I'm serious. It's so crazy. I could bring T'Challa back and repair one of their franchises.
Is it possible that we could? My bad, Chill. I couldn't hear you earlier, but is it possible that we could send this to the Russo brothers? 'Cause I really believe that the Russo brothers have a lot of more weight a lot of times than Ryan Coogler, if we're being honest.
I think the Russo brothers might actually take over Marvel Studios after Kevin Feige. And
you think they're gonna be the James Gunn?
I think they're gonna, because they don't do shit else except for superhero movies good. So they might as well just.
Hey, listen, man, I like Community a lot, and I wish they brought it back. But
That was prior to their superhero stuff. So that's different. And TV syndication is a little bit different because you can spread the script and the story out more. So you could usually do better with TV. But them fools only do better with superhero movies. So they might as well take over from Kevin Feige.
And as we were talking about earlier, we're talking about I am
I think
gonna
you just. Oh, there you go.
Okay, I am gonna
lag
watch,
for a second.
I am gonna watch Eyes of Wakanda because I'm looking for Easter eggs. I'm gonna just be honest with you. I am looking for Easter eggs. I'm hoping that maybe I'll see a turnaround, and maybe they'll have something that leads towards a better story or a bigger story about bringing T'Challa back. So I will give it a shot. I will give it a chance.
You mean like some ancient Wakanda artifact that actually brings the dead back, such as the altar in Wakanda that brought back Killmonger?
Something ain't sitting right with me that the fact that it's coming out.
Somebody asked what happened to T'Challa's body in Wakanda Forever.
I just don't feel right that this is coming out in August. And Chadwick died August 27th, and I feel like they're gonna market.
Oh, they changed the date. You're right. In the trailer, it wasn't August 5th anymore. Chad died August 28th, and they chose to put it out on August 27th. So
And
like on the
it's been
28th.
5 years since he's been dead.
Yeah,
Oh snap! I didn't even realize that.
I've been saying this in so many streams for the past few months that y'all need to pay. They about to market off his death,
They're
Again,
gonna market the hell out of his death.
Because
That is
Chill is
very
making
weird.
this shit trend on like the anniversary of his death. But look what they
Oh
doing.
damn! I didn't even know that.
5 years since he's been dead, and this show comes out. Watch.
incredible.
But when you made the point about the artifact, keep in mind T'Challa is the king of the dead.
King of the dead.
How can you kill the king of the dead? That's a walking plot hole.
Yes.
Yeah, that was my tweet. I swear, how can you kill the king of the dead? That makes no sense.
I mean, it's simple. It's the same.
Well, he's not. He's not the king of the dead in the MCU. The
Well,
king
Marvel
of
let
dead
God
It's
and
simple.
Thunder
They
get
killed
paid
him.
in his own movie.
They killed him with
So
the same logic.
What do you
The
say?
way they killed Darwin in X-Men. It's like,
That made no sense.
well,
Yeah,
I need to
that
show
made
that I'm
no
superior. So
Garbage. Garbage.
they killed that man so bad he went to go work for James Gunn.
pretty much.
Let's say hello to Cal. Hi.
What's happening?
Okay.
What up?
What you talking about, Gil? What you talking?
Listen, you've had a lot to say, right? What do you think about the efforts of Recast T'Challa today? We successfully got it to trend when it began the stream. I checked; it was trending. It's trending right now. Recast T'Challa was a trending topic. 1,000 people tweeted it. How do you feel about this?
I mean, I feel good about it, but that's the reason why I wanted to call in or what have you. I just want to know: do you really think that is there an odd? Do you really think that Marvel even looking at this stuff, recast T'Challa? Do you think they even care? Do you think it will even affect any of their plans moving forward? Do you think this resonates at all?
Like Caliver's telling you, yes, but it's not just this. Like, no one cares that my tweet has been retweeted X amount of times. That's irrelevant. The masses, though, changing their perception of it, that's what matters to them. And so, yes, it's very important. Like, this is market research right now. What we're doing, we're letting them know that there's a loud enough group of people here who have this opinion, and it's popular and it works. We decided a month ago, July 1st, you know what? That's when this guy debuted in a comic book. He turns 59 years old. We're going to make the Recast T'Challa hashtag trend. And we did it together. We all did it. Everyone who's here, everyone listening too. There's 54 viewers on all of our channels, right? We did it. That matters. Like, that actually will affect things. Like, they have their finger on the pulse. That's probably why they dropped the trailer today, because they were like, yo, they're all talking about Recast T'Challa. Let's make them talk about Eyes of Wakanda instead.
And we do know social engagement does get to them, because Ryan Coogler said in one of his interviews, like, he heard the chatter about Wakanda Forever not being supported by us or whatever, but then turn around, like, the numbers from Disney Plus says, like, it's the most watched thing on Disney Plus or something like that. But they are paying attention to social media. Like, that's something they have to do.
The fans got John Krasinski cast as Mr. Fantastic in
True
the
story.
Doctor Strange movie. So they are paying attention to this internet shit.
I have exactly that moment that you're talking about, Curtis. I mean, Culture Made channel, this one.
My film Wakanda Forever is the most consistently most streamed, most popular
Exactly.
thing that I've ever done. But because that movie is about a lot of black women, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
If you check the narrative online, you would think it was the opposite. You know what I'm saying? But somewhere somebody's watching that movie and they not jumping on the internet about it. You know what I mean? They watching it with their family, they enjoying it. You know what I mean? They going back and they watching it again.
I just want to represent myself right now. It's not, I don't care about the woman aspect of it. I also don't care about the movie itself. It's the decision to kill T'Challa that I'm bad at. I've never gone, you see, this scene, the color was all off, and over here in this scene, the dialogue, I had a problem. I've never done that. I never will do that. It's T'Challa's dead. That's the problem with the franchise as a whole. So he's not talking about me for sure, because I would never say things like that. And the woman thing, yeah.
My main gripe with Wakanda Forever, I can almost see why we didn't get T'Challa in the film. I have an idea, and I kind of understand why we didn't. And it's like, I call it the Ice Cube theory. And I can kind of understand that, but I think they went way too far to just eliminate T'Challa from our even existence. It's like they just, it was like a huge campaign to make us forget about T'Challa.
Erasure. Yep.
And that's what made the whole movie tank. I think they could have kept a large majority of the movie. And if they said, okay, no T'Challa in this movie, I think it would have been different. But what they did was, and I'm going to say this, and I may get a lot of hateful replies.
Just ignore them, NPCs.
The emasculation of the black male. They went ahead and they de-emphasized the person who was king. They de-emphasized him. And by just saying, we're just done with him. We're done with him.
They felt that we would be represented by Talo Khan because Namor. They thought Namor was enough man to carry.
He's dark enough.
No.
Darker than me.
Keep in mind in Black Panther, we really went 2 funerals because the Queen died also.
That's what made me so mad. And Angela Bassett didn't get the award. Man.
She acted her ass off.
Jamie Lee Curtis did.
Yeah.
She acted her ass off. Now I'm going to tell you something. She did a wonderful job acting.
I get chills when I hear, did I not give everything? Every time. I'm telling you, the movie is good. The movie is good, yo.
I'll take
your word for it.
To Cal, you got to put that away.
Not that women were in the forefront of the aspect, but in the first film, every scene you see with a black man, there's a black woman there, and we were working together. We were in unison.
Yeah.
We were united.
To Cal, you got to put that away. That's why I took you off the screen right now.
But in the second one, the problem is that M'Baku was a joke. He was literally a joke. There was no black male in there that I feel represented me, and I don't feel like he deserved to be the king.
I feel like, though, as much as I agree with what Caliber opened, I don't think we should ever go the route of males and representation, all that stuff. That's such a avenue to get into you just hate it because it's a woman. That's why.
Yeah.
Well, they'll think that they want to think.
The first Wonder Woman movie, it was dope.
My biggest problem was
I'll tell you this though,
Mexicans.
Okay, I'll give you this. I'll give you this. Hold on, Mark. I'll give you this.
Yeah,
then the child is a male, so he solves all your problems. See, it's just lose. Never bring up this male female stuff.
Yeah, it's not the male female for me.
Well, they can say what they want, but see, here's the thing about it though. What Cal was saying about do we really think that Marvel is going to hear this and Marvel is going to do something or whatever? You know something. I don't know how many of you might have been around or went to the Million Man March, 1995. All right.
We don't do this old people stuff. Why you keep asking us who was around in the 80s and
I respect it.
Who took their son to the movies?
Hey man, hear him out.
He was there. It's wisdom, bro. It's wisdom.
I was there with my father. Okay.
All right.
So and that that's a date that people want to forget. That's the reason why I take that seriously. It's like that was something that was real. A bunch of black men out there, saying that we pledge to do better in our communities. I went with my father. It wasn't like I looked like I did now as a child. I was a kid. So I went out there and I remember at the time people were like, pretty much, do you really think what you're doing is going to change anything? There's still going to be deadbeat dads. There's still going to be crime. There's still going to be, all of this stuff, but it actually changed me to see all of those black men out there. Here I was trying to grow up, trying to come into my manhood, believing a lot of the negative stuff that was put out there. Like that day, I saw something out there, that rang true about us that people are afraid of. And leading up to it, people were afraid of it because they were like, all these people are going to follow Farrakhan and they're going to be violent and all that stuff. There was no violence. It was just a bunch of singing, a bunch of, brothers being together, it was love, man. So what I'm saying is before you can look to change from anybody else, before you concern yourself with what Marvel is going to do, we have to get on the same page ourselves. We have to believe that we can make a difference. We have to believe that we have a place in our families. We have a place in our communities. We have to value ourselves first. You know what I mean? So when I talk about this stuff, when we talk about recast T'Challa and stuff like that, and you got other black men, coming up to you talking about, nigga, shut up, shut your ass up, just stuff like that. You know what I mean? We have to prove it to ourselves first. You know what I'm saying? That's what I mean. Don't be so concerned with, do you really think Marvel's going to listen? Because that makes us feel like we're begging for something. You know what I mean? We're just talking about what's right. You did something that was wrong. You know what I mean? And we should be on the same page to at least identify that. You know what I'm saying? But instead, we fight amongst each other, you know? And Chill, you can learn something from history as I learned from, you know, the history of my father, the history of my grandfather, stuff like that. So, man, I wish I could go further back, you know, because I used to listen to my grandfather, you know, when he used to break down the science and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's what we're missing. We're missing the appreciation for the generations before, you know, the elders before. That's the reason why T'Challa sought counsel with T'Chaka. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He didn't go
Yeah,
up to him talking about, man, T'Chaka, Dad, why you always telling me these old stories? You know what I mean? It's like, no, he sat and he listened. And I'm saying that's what we need. We need to value each other as men, as black men. That is our first battle before we even go there, you know, and that's the reason why we're doing what we're doing, you know, recast T'Challa. Because as you said, Chill, the more you do it, the more people are starting to understand. Where in the beginning, all it was shut up, man. Just shut up. Just shut up. It's just a movie, man. It's just a movie. You know what I mean? But the understanding is starting to come. So it takes patience, but that's where we need to be first, you know, because until then, Marvel ain't really trying to listen to nothing, you know. But if we just said, listen, we reject what you're giving, I ain't watching no Eyes of Wakanda. You know what I mean? It's like you get a vote of no confidence from me. You know, if more of us were to do that, you damn right they would start to take notice.
That's a fact.
Let's get into this super chat now.
This money,
Respect
this money. Ain't no way you can take this from me. Ain't funny, ain't get money.
Lawrence A with the $5 super. If this was Batman, Superman, or Spider-Man, they wouldn't have that argument. T'Challa is Black Panther, period.
Did we get three Spider-Man in one movie?
Yeah, but they're white.
Exactly.
And check this out. It took Tom Holland 3 movies to get $1 billion, and he had to go get help from 2 other Spider-Man, but it took T'Challa 1 movie.
Yeah.
1 movie to get $1 billion.
And his debut movie.
Movie.
Black people are, when it's good, we'll go back to the movies twice, 3 times,
Sinners,
4 times.
I seen that joint 5 times. I seen Sinners 3.
And you know,
I like Ryan Coogler, man. I think he tells stories that need to be told.
I'm wondering, was he able to tell the story he wanted to tell with Wakanda Forever? Because I knew Nia DaCosta did not tell the story she was trying to tell with the Marvels.
Yeah.
No,
she didn't tell that story.
Go ahead, Cal. You want to say something, Cal? Go ahead.
Oh, no. I'm not saying that this doesn't matter or anything like that. I'm not saying. I'm also saying that my parents, my grandparents, did things during civil rights and all that stuff and made changes only to see them now in 2025 non-existent. Everything is going backward.
They're trying to erase history, yeah.
So all I'm saying is that it just seems like a drop. Us making this little thing seems like a drop in the bucket. Even if it does get recognized, they'll do it just to appease this whole group of people. And then they will immediately turn their back on it, just like they did with everything else that involved people of color. To me, in my own opinion, I have to say this. But that's the way
you got to do what Mark was saying, to use history. Someone's phone is ringing. It's still ringing.
You should calm down.
Hold on, you're doing something.
Right now.
Hold on.
It's
So you
Ryan.
gotta use. We can use history. In this case, it would be recent history to know. Yeah, that's what they do. They wait for something to get hot. No matter how popular this Black Panther thing got, they discontinued. Or same with Jon Stewart. No matter how important he was on that Justice League cartoon and high profile he was as a Green Lantern, Ryan Reynolds was cast to play Hal Jordan, and they got rid of him. So I'm not going to be like, oh, Aaron Pierre, he's playing John now. They actually care. No, they don't. So I use history to know.
Just popular.
I'm not sold on that. I'm not sold Aaron Pierre. Aaron Pierre's a great actor. I don't hate Aaron Pierre. I don't. But John Stewart was made to be a dark complexion black
Oh,
man.
that's where you were going with that?
Yeah.
Man, that's
Yeah.
great news.
I am.
Caliber is right.
I
Caliber's right.
am. And I'm looking like I saw the still of John Stewart and Hal Jordan, and immediately I'm like, it's like we got a tall version of Prince and Bruce Springsteen. And I'm like, what? I'm like, and I don't hate people that, oh, you just hate Aaron Pierre, don't you? No, I don't. I just don't want to see him do that.
I agree. A prerequisite is to look like the character, but that's also not why we're here. So we'll just be quick. Give a thumbs up to the Aaron Pierre casting if you're for it, with his light skin, or a thumbs down if you think he was inaccurate. Vote now. I got my down. Paul is up. Josh? He's thinking about
light
it.
skinned brothers need representation too.
They do. They do. But there's a
Look, I'm a light skinned bro. And I don't even think that's relevant. I think he should
Hey,
be.
back to
He
recasting
should
that.
be dark.
You got your
Understand.
You got
All
Devontae
black
Rose.
characters. All black characters back
Don't
in the
have to be
day
dark
were
skin,
painted
bro.
with the same brown number 5 color.
Yeah.
There was
Now
no
this
distinction
day,
between black people.
Now go make someone who's just as light as Aaron Pierre, and I support that guy acting for that character. But it's important to depict. Never mind. We're getting into it. I said I don't want.
My
Yeah,
problem
yeah,
with
no,
Aaron
we
Pierre
gotta say this 'cause,
is
like,
he's already
there's
in
pre-
everything.
Yeah, there's precedent too. Like when it comes to casting, like I think Zendaya's on record saying it's like, oh yeah, when it comes to casting, like people have told me, executives, like, yeah, you are a preferred black woman. Example.
Yeah,
Same thing with
because
Hollywood.
he's
It's like,
light skinned.
yeah, they have their preferred this is kind of like our vision or our
Why
thought.
did they feel safe to tell Zendaya that like that wasn't gonna reach our airwaves? Like Zendaya was just gonna keep that a secret for the studio? That's hilarious.
But see,
I'm sorry.
Back to
They
this.
might as well. They might as well call. They might as well call Zendaya a house nigga at that point. If they're going to say that you are our preferred person,
No,
they
but
might
she,
as well.
She didn't keep that a secret though. Like she was completely.
Can I say
He
something?
does
Can I say
specifically
something
go
real?
for light skin and white women roles. So
Yeah, and no Caliber. Unless you want to talk about recast T'Challa, because we got off topic. What do you want to say?
I'm going to be real quick with this. In Hollywood, it's been said it's easier for them to shoot with a lighter complexion person with the cameras than a darker complexion person.
I don't
It
believe
was said that. It's been said that. And
Yeah, because
it has been said.
yeah, in the past, it was because I remember one time they had Eddie
No,
Murphy.
you said you're gonna be quick. Now you're giving an example. That's enough. He's not T'Challa. I'm playing some of my tweets. Let's go.
But surely Marvel know, okay, it's not about a man being in that suit.
No, it's about him specifically, T'Challa. It's not about you can get Nakia's son, make him older, and that kid gets to be T'Challa, and it's just the same. No, it's not. I don't want to see no movie about Bruce Wayne having a kid, and then we call Damian Wayne Bruce Wayne all of a sudden, and he can be your Batman now. Or if Clark Kent has a son, why would we do that? We'd never accept something like that for the Thor franchise where Thor just has his kid. Remember Love? Love grows up and Love becomes Thor. It should never be accepted for Black Panther. Shala Bal is another one of those, but the mantle of Silver Surfer, I don't accept it there. I don't accept it for T'Challa either. When you add the racial component of it, or how significant a black character is, and how few actually break through to get to the level that T'Challa got to, I don't play around with this one. It is impeding on the greatest black character in the history of fiction.
The
T'Challa.
greatest black comic book character,
Great.
period.
That point needed to be reminded to everybody that you don't do the swaps with Hulk because he's got a son. He literally has a son. That's guy's name's Scar, but he can be a Hulk, can he? He can be the lead of the next movie. We would never play that game there. And when you have that double standard, it's helpful. Unfortunately, like you have to, in order to humanize a black character, unfortunately, you have to do it by juxtapositioning it against the white guy. Did I use that word right, Paul?
Yes, juxtaposition.
Juxtaposition. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fellas, it's been real. I gotta get out of here. But dope conversation. Recast T'Challa.
Same.
To 60 years. So peace out.
Okay,
y'all.
now when you leave, hit leave studio.
All right, chill. Nobody wants to hear that. Stop it.
Nope.
Do it correct.
Yep.
It's not true.
I
Lightning
gotta
is
go.
light.
I gotta go too, man. My screen went completely black. I don't know what's happening right now, but I gotta fix it. Wait, I'm coming back. It's tripping. But chill. I appreciate the invite, brother. I hope this will not be the last time. Sorry I had to work tonight, fellas. But again, it was an honor being on this panel. Y'all see, but y'all can't see now because I got a black screen for some reason. The comic book and T'Challa on my wall right there. Recast T'Challa.
Oh, right
Chill.
there. Yeah, we see it. Yeah. Right there.
Don't worry, the black screen is representing Black Panther, man. All power.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
True
appreciate
story.
y'all.
Kevin Feige cut his video. See, Kevin Feige is one that cut the video, just cutting folks out. See, that's what's going on.
It's not true. Lightning is lightning. Yeah, but if they were to call her Thor and she would be like, "Look, she's got the lightning power. She's the new Thor. She takes the mantle." That's what I meant by that. But
Yeah.
if that one doesn't work for you, just use the Superman example or the Batman example. It's just they don't do it.
Can I tell a campy T'Challa story again? Growing up, my guy was Bishop. I loved Bishop.
Oh, hell yeah.
I loved Bishop. So it's not
Jerry
like I
curl
was.
on.
I'm going to be. Well, he had good hair.
Mhm.
He had good hair.
Mhm.
He
He's
had good
supposed
hair.
to be Filipino, so
Yeah, he not.
He had good hair.
yo, how about this? How about this? What
But,
if
but my point is that the Black Panther was there, but I guess because I didn't see him in the first Secret Wars, it didn't really click. I got older, I read Black Panther. I liked it. But when the first movie came out, and I think they did the animated Black Panther's Quest, I was in the barbershop. And that's when I saw the significance of T'Challa. Because I saw a father bond with his son. When I said, they said, "What do you want to say?" I said, "They said we want to see. We have to show something in here that's kid friendly." And I'm like, "Let's watch Black Panther's Quest." And the boy was happy, played it, and that father and son bonded over T'Challa. It was genuine. It was pure. It was beautiful. The only fictional person me and my father could bond over was a Nordic barbarian called He-Man. Not the same. Not the same effect. But I said to myself, well, it's good that these kids in this generation have a character like that. They can bond with their fathers or even grandfathers, that they have that. And then, what happened after that, about a year or so later. So I'm like, let them have that. Let those little boys, let them have that. Let them have that. Let them be able to interact with their father or grandfather or uncle, with that. Let them do that. And some girls will want to interact with their fathers over that. They can have a conversation about that. So, I think there is a true importance to that particular character.
Agreed.
I've got something to say about that caliber. Somebody was talking about Cosby Show earlier in here, and I know it's not a superhero, and I know Cosby is a terrible person now, but I kind of had that. My father, he kind of emulated himself from watching Cosby Show in that time in the late '80s and stuff. He kind of emulated himself as his parenting style in a way. The Cosby Show was something to look up to because it was something that felt, from my perspective, where I was at as a child when I was growing up, was unattainable. Like you can't be a doctor and be black, and you can't do this, you can't do all that. So that seemed something that I could grasp and inspire to. And I guess my father's seen that too, because he was living in a situation where I don't know. I'm getting way into the weeds. It has nothing to do with the child, but but I can identify what you're talking about. Caliber is what I'm basically.
I'll give you this. No matter how old you are, your father's age, even he was impressionable by the images that he exposes himself. We're not a finished product because we're in our 40s, 50s. Like, we still can be affected positively by what we keep seeing in front of us.
Actually, I remember my father did. He died in 2016. But I think he did manage to see. He died like December. He did manage to see Captain America: Civil War, and he was shocked by T'Challa's presence in that.
That was a great introduction to the character.
Yeah,
the Russos handled him correctly.
Yeah, they did him to the T. Russos did a wonderful job.
That's the only movie he didn't die in.
Now, one thing that lived rent free in my head is when Hawkeye tried to stop him, and he was like, "Oh, he said, we haven't met yet. I'm Clint." He was like, "I don't care.
I don't care.
Like, I don't care who you are.
I'm a
Get out my way, boy."
Again, NPC.
He had the best one-liners in that film ever.
Man, Chadwick Boseman came with it. I know it's T'Challa, but Chad meant a lot for us.
There's one thing I can also appreciate: T'Challa didn't quit, and that's one thing I hate about the MCU. Everybody quips and jokes. Everybody's funny, and I'm like, everybody I know ain't funny.
Addicted to Tony Stark and Star-Lord. You got to be like super over, just expressive to where it's like, oh my goodness, like I'm getting all the pops from this character. They're saying all these funny lines. It's quippy. I love it. I mean, that's cool, but it's like not every character's like that. That's why I hate when they say like, man, I can't have a character who's kind of like bored and stiff. Like a lot of people criticize Keanu Reeves for like a lot of roles he did where it's like, unless it was like Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures, other roles it's like, oh, he's stiff as a board. It's like you know very well that you got friends who are sometimes like that, just kind of very monotone, but like they're still good people. They're kind of even cool. It's just they have like kind of more reserved character. That's why like Neo in the Matrix worked the way he did, because like he was a corporate guy who got pulled out into like the real world, and he still kept that demeanor because he's like calm and cool. He doesn't have to be Star-Lord. He doesn't have to be Tony Stark. So,
well, I will say I like the juxtaposition between Shuri and Black Panther in the first one. They joked and stuff, and then Okoye or whatever, they joke too. Don't freeze. I never freeze.
I never.
All that stuff. Yeah, all that stuff is great.
We laughed at the situation, but T'Challa didn't tell a joke. He just said something. I never
the truth. You know,
that's a good point, Joe. That's a good point. Like a lot of characters they try to make funny, and it's not about them being funny. It's about them reacting to the situation.
Mm-hmm.
And also,
like, that's why you literally have a thing
no.
called comic relief in a movie. Like they take on the essence of like the comedy, and then they kind of work around it.
Yeah, they actually gave Sam Wilson the comedic roles in Civil War. He's like, oh, so you just went around dressed up as a cat? You're a cat man? And T'Challa didn't clap back with any jokes. He's like,
exactly.
But the role of the Black Panther is passed down from father to son.
These
as
all
warriors
and references.
And Nate Moore was like, yeah, it does get passed down, doesn't it? That was their favorite part of that movie, the mantle explanation.
They had to explain why they were going to use a woman.
That's like them taking woke and just like running off a cliff. It's like, wow, you didn't even get the context at all.
But I mean, we do have characters like Bashinga though, so it's like.
But how many
Bashinga or Mosey?
I don't know who Mosey is.
That's the first.
Do we?
How many comics has Bashinga had?
Avengers 1 million
appearances. It's always been T'Challa. All the comics I got pulling out right now, everyone is T'Challa.
Nah, they did an old school Avengers. I think it's Avengers 1 million, and it was the first Black Panther.
Yeah.
That's what
Mosey. That's what I was talking about. It's Mosey.
Oh, it's Mosey? I thought that was Bashinga.
Mosey was before Bashinga in that comic.
Oh, okay.
It's confusing. No one
remembers. Captain America is much more of a mantle than Black Panther.
If they were smart, you got Denzel Washington. Let him play Negos.
Say that again. Let him play
Negos.
The king.
He gonna play old man.
the wise king, the wisest Black Panther.
What do you say?
Negos.
It's pronounced Negus.
But Negus, so I was heard Negos, but
I can't wait for Denzel to tell somebody, "Get your hands off of me."
I'd rather see Denzel play Achebe.
Nah, I've seen the Achebe thing.
If he
do you think Denzel's going to do this? Is this real? Well, he did say it.
Yeah,
it's real.
I mean, I could see him being, what is it, like when my boy went to the tree and all the elders is there, the ghosts or whatever, like Force Ghost shit. I can see him being that, maybe.
What
The
if he
ancestral
plays?
flame, yeah.
What if he
Ancestral
plays a
plane.
variant? What if he plays a variant to Chaka and he brings in T'Challa, who is Jameson and Aldous?
I'm
I
rooting
think we
for
gotta
him,
get off the
man. I don't
variant.
care.
Chill. Bring up Grand Regent Thrag's comment.
Okay. Denzel, don't do
No,
accent.
no, not that one. Before that.
That's
Great
after
movie.
that one. After that one. After that.
Fantastic Four movie would have been a good time to bring in Blue Marvel and a variant T'Challa, or
They should have
tease
brought
a
in Blue
variant
Marvel in the
T'Challa.
Marvels.
I'm gonna say this one more time, as I've always been
Wait,
saying.
you said
Blair Underwood as Blue Marvel. Blair
Yes, sir.
Underwood.
What? Blair? That's a deep cut.
Yeah.
Blair Underwood.
Blair Underwood.
Let me
I
hear
ain't
what
heard
Paul
that
had to
name.
say. What's Paul's reaction to Adam Brashear Blue Marvel?
He should have shown up in the Marvels.
He should have shown up in the Marvels. True story.
In fact,
the movie would have
the,
did gangbusters.
the actor, what's his face? What's that brother's name?
Michael Jai White.
Which one?
No,
not
the
him.
one
Jay
he was in the
White.
John Wick film. He played the black dude in the John
Lance
Wick film.
Reddick.
Lance Reddick?
No, not him.
no,
the
dude
one
with the
in
dog.
the last,
The dude
the
with
one
the
who had
dog.
the dog.
Not Lawrence Fishburne.
Lawrence
Lance
Fishburne.
Rennick
No,
is
you're not
dead.
talking about Lawrence Fishburne.
The young brother who had the dog.
Oh,
I
the
know who you're talking
Canadian
about. I just
one.
don't know his
The
name.
Canadian
I'm talking
dude.
about-
You should
yeah.
know him. He's one of your people. Anyway, he was supposed to be in the Marvels film. He was cast in the Marvels film. He had an IMDb in the Marvels film, but they cut his role out. I suspect he was going to be the scientist that Monica Rambeau referenced in the
WandaVision.
WandaVision?
Well, no,
WandaVision show.
No, because in
Everybody
WandaVision
thought she
they
was talking
referenced
about
like who
Reed.
it was actually. They wrapped it up. It was like a friend.
She said it was a friend who was a physicist or
Yeah, but
something
we
like
saw the
that.
physicist the next episode.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was a female.
It was a girl.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
that honestly. blew my mind.
regardless, that would have been a perfect opportunity to bring him in. I
Yeah.
think that's the role he was brought into play.
All
There
right.
can only be one.
Yeah, we can't have too many
There can only be one.
powerful black dudes.
And then you talking about
I
Black
know
Love
it's like
too?
this, but I know like that's the thing. It's
You-
like this big.
talking about Black Love
strong
too?
man comes in.
And Black
Right.
Love too.
How many
correct.
black relationships are in the MCU? Don't worry, I'll wait.
That's what I was talking about
T'Challa
earlier.
and Nakia, man.
Yeah.
He's dead.
And it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
One film. Okay.
Yeah.
Pepper and
Yeah.
Tony's relationship went through like 12 years. We got to see
Yeah.
Pepper and Tony blossom.
What
got
was
to
that
see Jane
thing?
and Thor blossom.
Jane and Thor.
Peggy and Kat
Yeah.
got a storyline. Everybody else. There's no black love.
Star Lord and Gamora.
Nah, Riri might be getting with
Zoe
I kind of
Saldana
want Homeboy
already
to say
said she's
Homeboy,
Dominican.
but it might be leaning to that. But I really want him to stay as the best friend because, like in the comics, does he actually like date her or like they just like?
no, they don't date in the comics.
I was about to say, yeah, I like that.
No. But I think they're using him as a love interest in the show. I don't know for sure though. You can't
Well,
really tell.
I think they took a break in the comics.
Oh, really?
Monica Rambeau.
No, we talking about.
No, we
Riri
talking about
and,
Riri and
Yeah, we talking about
right, Xavier.
I think his name Hector or something. I can't
I
remember.
thought it was
Xavier
Hector
King.
Ramos.
Yeah.
Xavier. Man,
Hector
Xavier.
King.
Yeah.
I don't
Super
know.
chat.
Clickety clank, clickety clank. The money goes into my piggy bank.
Appreciate the $10 from K. Dot. This panel is despicable. Feige recasted the iconic Thunderbolt Ross for you heathens, and this is how you replay Marvel Studios. This is a sign of treason. That's making Feige go bald even more. Shame. No.
Not only did he
I'm
recast,
sure Feige's got plenty of hats to cover up.
not
the
only
head.
did he recast,
saying that's what's
Thunderbolt
on that
Ross
cap?
was the main character of Brave New World.
You guys don't understand. When I see things like what he just did, comedy, that's how you tell a point. That's how you make your points. I did one earlier today, actually, before we went streaming. It was my last big short, and I'll play it now. Comedy. Everybody's talking about how T'Challa needs to be back, but they're not understanding. They'll use examples like Thunderbolt Ross. Look at him. He was alive and then died of cancer. It's a double standard because look how quickly they recasted with Harrison Ford. I get it, but it's not the same. Then they'll run over to, well, look, Disney also owns
Balin
Lucasfilm,
Skull.
and they had a character in Balin Skull. Ray Stevenson died, in came Rory McCann. But what's not registering is that these are white characters. So then they'll hit you with Percy Jackson had the character Zeus being played by Lance Reddick. Yeah, The IP is Caucasian. Just because they got a black actor playing him this time doesn't change Zeus. That's white. So of course you recast, even with a black actor like Courtney B. Vance. Black people need to chill out. Black characters like Blade don't get to be re-envisioned by new actors for another generation. What you get is T'Challa
hey,
has
look at
this
the
son in
camera.
Haiti. He's gonna grow up and he can be your T'Challa
hate
now.
that
Next time you see someone using the hashtag recast T'Challa, you tell them end T'Challa. Everybody's talking about how
They'll pick that up and run with it, Chill.
Chill.
They'll pick that up and run with it, Chill.
Chill.
Did you
That's not good.
schedule? Did you edit Deadpool to look that way?
No, he literally does that in the movie.
That's
No.
Like, he giving us a message. Like,
No, I did make an edit. I cropped it so
I know
that
you made an edit, but it's like Deadpool is looking exactly at the child.
Oh.
It's like he's looking directly at the child. You gotta be kidding me.
what's Hobie and Mindy? Is that the Spider Punk?
Hobie Brown.
Hobie
maybe?
Brown?
What he the
Mindy Kaling?
Prowler.
It's the only Hobie I know.
Prowler, who's in
Hey,
Spider-Man.
I like Mindy Kaling.
Mindy Kaling.
Yeah, I like her.
Toussaint is about to be 10 years old in a tiny Black Panther suit fighting
Oh wait, diabolically, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna do what they did in did you ever see Power Rangers Turbo, the movie, where it's like there was like a kid who was the Blue Ranger, but then like when he transformed, he turned into like grown adult.
Grown ass man. Yeah.
They're gonna do that.
No.
I would rather wait for the reboot.
We've been here for 2.5 hours. I'm about done talking about what I need to talk about. We made it trend. You can still tweet the hashtag now that it's trending. Now, you might get some more eyes on your tweet. So if you guys have a meme, something valuable to say, tweet it. If you want to go underneath someone who's talking about Eyes of Wakanda or Ironheart, that just all aired in the last 2.5 hours since we've been live.
Oh, that's right. I gotta check out the rest of those.
Yeah, I'm
episodes.
going straight to watch it.
Yeah. If someone's tweeting about that, you can also talk about the importance of Riri Williams and the importance of the smart T'Challa. It's not too late. We did it. We succeeded in making recast T'Challa trend. Why? Because this guy turned 59 years old today. When he turns 60, we'll do the same thing again. So
Black characters matter.
What matters?
Hey,
Black
hashtag
characters
Aldous
matter.
How about hashtag Aldous Hodge for T'Challa?
Yes.
Aldous Hodge is T'Challa. Let's do that.
Wait, are you launching that campaign right now? I don't have any tweets. I don't have a meme. I don't have anything prepared for it.
Well,
Talk to
Aldous
me.
Hodge is T'Challa. What is hashtag Aldous Hodge is T'Challa?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, let's see. Okay. Let's see if we can get our version of like the non-toxic Snyder Bros approach, where it's like they basically bully the studio into like doing what they want to do. Let's say, hey, we're not trying to bully, but like, hey, we're not gonna shove.
They did the same thing with John Krasinski. So
exactly, same thing. And I don't even like The Office.
The problem is that we're saying recast T'Challa, and from Disney's perspective, they've done that. They've recasted T'Challa.
They did
it twice. Keep saying it's like, no, you didn't. Wrong.
So recast T'Challa may not be sufficient as a hashtag. You need to come up with T'Challa, son of T'Chaka type thing.
You only got
it's too powerful and it's too prominent. Recast T'Challa works, and just by saying it means that we don't recognize Toussaint. Like that's why we keep saying it. And we are allowed to have more characters in that tweet. And yes, we can mention because we're talking about the actual.
No,
T'Challa.
I'm not saying get rid of recast T'Challa. I'm saying you might need to add to it so that you can specify that
Why don't Toussaint deserve that? What the hell?
Make Black Panther great again.
Maybe I like that.
Maybe they'll get some of the other people on the other side. It's like,
let's not do that.
I know. I'm being facetious actually, but it's like
I want to be dead honest with you guys, and I'm not a Trump guy, but this is not a time to get divided over Republican, Democrat, blue, red. That's stupid. What we want is a character to come back, and we got to focus on that similarity. And Culture Mid is nodding his head like he voted for Trump. It's okay.
No.
It's okay. It's cool.
I agree. Now you kind of fucked up with the end T'Challa thing. I'm telling you, they will take that and run with it. When
we need that. Okay, that's what we need.
I agree with Culture on that.
T'Challa. If they take End T'Challa and they make videos over it, then Tony Weaver covers it. There's a appetite. It's like a fan base right now that are out there. Let's call them the white liberals who are just Geeks and gamers are angry at that. Well, I guess I gotta support it then. We want that for Ianu, for Forever, for Supercell. We want that. So yeah, let them get crazy with the Enter child. Let them talk slick about Toussaint, about the baby daddy thing is a bastard. Let them talk about that. Then it'll help bring people to the side.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
For what it's worth,
I'll
I've been
just
using
press-
for what it's worth, I've been using reboot Black Panther only because I have no faith in these people. I just don't.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? It's like I stand with my brothers here and everything like that for recast T'Challa, but honestly, I got over that because I don't trust them. It's like even if they do recast, it's like I just don't think they have it in them to do right. You know, my thing is I want to see the whole thing get rebooted. I want to see a whole new creative team. I want to see a different
I agree
studio.
with
Yeah, I mean, I know it's not likely to happen, but they painted themselves into such a corner. They messed up so bad in
They
the
made
MCU with
it
Black
bad.
Panther. Yeah, there's almost no way that they can do anything with this now. It's like if they try to take Black Panther away from Shuri, there's a certain section of the audience who are Black women who are going to take that personally.
True.
They're going to take it
True.
as an offense. You know, they're going to have to answer to that.
It depends
So-
on how they do it, honestly. Because honestly, like there have been characters like, well, think about this: when Superman died. Okay, well, actually, I think that was a bad example because like all those characters did stay.
Coma.
Emancipation of,
Coma.
like, Superman.
You know, the thing with Shuri is the best way to handle bringing back T'Challa is to make Shuri what she's supposed to have been, which is the Aja Adana. Like she needs to be that character, which is pretty powerful, and it gives her own distinct identity.
Well, MCU Shuri don't believe she didn't want to be the Black Panther anyway.
Yeah,
like, she didn't believe in
Right.
the
No, that's a very good point, and it completes her journey by actually becoming a mystical character.
The dramatic arc.
You know, someone has not based on science, someone who's based on mysticism.
Yeah, all right.
But they did say, you know, the word is Black Panther 3 is supposed to be more supernatural and spiritual.
Whoa.
Yeah, well, that's why I hope
that's
they
the word.
introduce.
I don't know where we're going.
Dr. Voodoo.
Yeah,
I would love them.
I heard the word demonic being used.
But you know, Dre Mack did say something, and I'm like, I wish I could have thought of that, and I had to give him credit.
Taste the biscuits.
Now you got the song going on in my head. But the dude who's supposed to be Nat King Cole, who's Norman Osborn.
Coleman Domingo.
Coleman Domingo.
Yeah.
Coleman Domingo be Brother Voodoo. I mean Dr. Voodoo.
Yeah, let's get.
I'd rather have.
We keep saying
Caliber, why did you say Brother Voodoo and then correct yourself to Dr. Voodoo? You don't like Brother Voodoo?
Now he has his doctorate degree in voodooism, and now he's not sitting there. If you notice, even his outfit has upgraded.
He was originally supposed to be Dr. Voodoo. He was always supposed to be Dr. Voodoo.
I'm a witch doctor, but I kind of look like a pimp.
Yeah, when you say like Brother Voodoo, like
then you got
like,
Dr. Voodoo, and it's like,
cool.
okay, I got my doctorate now.
You tie too much to like black exploitation. It's like Brother Voodoo.
Yeah.
That's what
Stan Lee
everybody
changed the
outside
name
the
to Brother
culture-
Voodoo. He was originally supposed to be Dr. Voodoo.
Yeah.
He changed it because it was black exploitation era, and they were trying to capitalize on that.
When you say he changed it, was there a comic book that came out where it was published and it said
No.
Dr. Voodoo?
I'm saying the guys who created the character. Stan Lee was the editor at the time, so he said, "Here's our character. His name is Dr. Voodoo. He's a psychologist, and he's Haitian. He's a voodoo practitioner." And Stan Lee said, Dr. Voodoo, I don't like that. Let's change the name to Brother Voodoo."
Okay.
Oh, Stan, why
I agree
did you
with
like
Stan
that?
Lee.
Because it conflicts with like Doctor Strange, the character. You
Bingo. And I don't want a secondary version of Doctor Strange. So I think by changing it to Dr. Voodoo, which is what he changed to when he became Sorcerer Supreme. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that was the time where they said, now you're called Dr. Voodoo. Because of that, that's why I'm pro Brother Voodoo and not Dr. Voodoo. But I respect your opinion. That's why I asked you, Caliber.
I don't know how I feel about
I
that.
like
'cause think about
upgrades,
this.
though. I
There are
like
several
Dr.
characters
Voodoo.
that have the like title Mister in front of there, like Mr. Negative, Mr. Fantastic. Why not? Why not?
Ms. Marvel.
Miss Marvel, yeah, So it's like, I don't know that title, whatever. But we're here where we are right now. So, and I like the idea of it can be flexible.
All right, fellas. Well, I gotta go. Yeah,
it's about that time.
Late.
Yes, sir. I gotta watch these 3 episodes and go to bed.
Check out Mr.
Get
Terrific.
about 3 hours of sleep before you gotta get out of work.
Yeah, it was a pleasure being on the panel with all you guys.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Indeed.
What's up?
Thanks
I'm
everyone
always
for
shout
coming.
out to Black Comic Lords.
Congratulations to
Gotta subscribe to everybody.
Yes, subscribe to every single one of us. Congratulations to Black Panther on 59 years. Support all of us. Our usernames are on our channel right now. And goodbye.
All right,
Recast
fellas.
T'Challa.
Recast T'Challa.